The stage is set, the bright lights are on. Welcome along to Obviously Fight Talk episode 70. I'm joined, as always, by #win decision, Mr. Robert Palin.
70?
Yeah.
Jesus.
We're getting up there, man.
That's mad, man. That's actually crazy to think about. 70 episodes.
Yeah. I won't use the joke. We're gone over now. It's gone.
What, the 69 joke?
Yeah. And no. So yeah, welcome along to episode 70. Yeah, we're getting emotional every week now with this stuff. So I hope you all enjoyed your long weekend. If you're listening to us here in Ireland, if you're in the UK, I hope you enjoyed it last weekend. So if you are watching on YouTube, subscribe by clicking on the subscription button
right there,
just below us there, so you get to see all the videos that we share, because we do share a lot. And follow us on Facebook. We're Obviously Fight Talk, and on Twitter @talk_fight, or any other social media. We're on Instagram at Obviously Fight Talk as well, isn't it? Obviously Fight Talk. And also comments, interact. We do interact, mainly Rob, but we do interact. Shout out to our sponsors, FightStar Ireland, the Fighter's Choice, everything you need under one roof, including...
Somebody forgot to put up the t-shirts.
Yeah, well, I was in a rush, busy day. So yeah, everything you need. They look after the local fighters and world champions. And MMAmix.com, they're obviously good because they're with, obviously, Fight Talk. So this week we have a packed show for you. We have a couple of good guests. We will be joined by the new Cage Warriors bantamweight champion, the prospect Nathaniel Wood, coming off a stunning victory over the weekend in London, in his hometown.
Impressed.
Getting the gold wrapped around his waist. Special feeling. I'm sure we'll speak about that with Nathaniel later on. We'll be joined by Skeletor Rhys McKee later on, who is, at the moment, he's in TriStar in Canada. Training with, I think they have a couple of lads up there, do they?
They're alright, like.
Decent coach or something, can't remember his name.
Yeah. We'll ask him.
We'll Google it.
We'll Google it before he comes on, so we don't look silly.
Darren Russell will be joining us from ODDsBible to break down UFC Fight Night 110. That is Hunt and the Black
Lewis
Beast.
Yeah. I love Derrick Lewis.
Yeah, and Movahedi, he'll even be getting on with us. Daniel Movahedi, he's got on about stuff that referees do or don't do later on. I'm sure that'll be interesting if you like referee stuff. And I wasn't in there. I didn't see his eyes. I know Dan's be on. We're going to be looking at soccer kicks. So if you're a fan of Japanese MMA, get ready. We're going to be talking about soccer kicks. Just the soccer kicks that we'll probably be talking about went down in London. And as far as I remember, London is not in Japan, and you're not allowed to boot a bloke in the head.
That's very true.
So, Rob, this is a couple of times now we've done this. We'll start where we never start. But it's starting to get a thing. We're going to be starting with a guest.
Most likely now at this point, aren't we?
Yeah. So, sit back and enjoy the soothing sounds of Robert Palin and Noel O'Keefe discussing fighting with Nathaniel Wood. Welcome back to Obviously Fight Talk. I'm delighted to say we are now joined by our new Cage Warriors champion in the prospect Nathaniel Wood. So Nathaniel, thanks a million for taking time to come out and come on to Obviously Fight Talk.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
I only caught up. I didn't watch the fight live. I was out and about. Amazingly, I had a social life this week. But watching the fight back, have you watched it back since yourself?
Yes, a couple times now.
And how did you find your performance watching it back?
Yeah, I'm very happy with it. It's a little bit, wild. It would have been a bit nicer to kind of maybe step back and be able to, kind of count my shots a little bit better. But, he put the pressure on. So I had to kind of go at the pace that he set, But yeah, I'm really happy with it, and now it still gives me a good buzz, when I see the crowd and how everyone reacted when I got the knockout.
And how is it to fight on Fight Pass? I'm not sure if there's any difference on the night because you probably don't notice it, but is it kind of cool that you can go back now on UFC Fight Pass and watch your fights, and now it's out there for the world to see?
Yeah, that helps a lot because I've got a few people that didn't get to see it live, and they said, "Oh, where can I watch it?" So I can kind of put them in, say, look, go and look on this website and here, and they can all see it clearly, just as if they were watching it on telly. It's not like they have to look at some crappy little footage. They can go and watch it on Fight Pass.
The fight itself, as I was saying, I only got to watch it back after knowing the result, so you can sort of look at it with a bit more of an open eye when you know the result. But were you surprised with how Marko came out with the fast start?
I wasn't so much surprised because I had seen him do an interview saying that he thinks that I don't do well under pressure, etc. but I was surprised that he striked as much as he did. You know, I thought he was just going to dive for the takedown straight away. So yeah, you know, I was a little bit surprised that he was striking more. But no, you know, I knew that he was going to come out all guns blazing, and especially when I had that crowd, you know, I knew that he knew he was in hostile territory, you know, so I knew that the pressure was on, and that was going to force him to come out fast.
The combinations that you landed as well, it's quite. I find it amazing that you're saying you thought it was scrappy, because I thought, looking at the fight in the midst of the madness where it was at full speed and guns blazing, I thought your shot selection was absolutely phenomenal, especially when you got in almost like Randy Couture style, you lovely dirty uppercuts in the clinch, and then you stepped away, and I thought from that point on every shot you landed was right on the chin, and the shot selection for me was what really impressed me in the heat of battle. Your shot selection was phenomenal. At that point, did you know he was hurt, and were you chasing that finish?
Yeah, you know, I think it was a left hook I caught him with, and he kind of stumbled back, you know, and I saw it in his eyes. And then as soon as he started going for the takedowns, you know, I knew that he didn't want to stay standing anymore. So, you know, that gave me a little psychological edge over him. And, you know, I knew it was inevitable after he was going for the takedowns and couldn't get him that I was going to catch him. But I think I caught him with a left hook, and I saw him stumble back and his eyes kind of go, you know, and then I knew at that point if I just put the pressure on, you know, Mark Goddard would step in.
And coming out from the fight, is the reaction from, say, the media and the fans been even bigger than last time? Or because the last time you obviously fought a UFC veteran in Von Lee, this time maybe it was a bigger stage, main event, but do you think that the reaction was a little bit better this time or bigger? Have you noticed any fan reaction to being bigger?
Yeah, I think this time it's been a lot more. You know, the support has really been crazy. I think from the Von Lee fight, you know, I built up a bit more support, a bit more of a fan base, and then now a lot more people actually tuned into me. Whereas last time, you know, some people they probably didn't know who I was, you know. And I think from that Von Lee fight, that a lot of people now tuned into this one to watch me, and you know, to be able to then better the performance that I did in Liverpool, you know, I think that's helped me a lot, and I would definitely say that the support that I've received from this fight has been a lot more than Liverpool.
I just want to bring you back as well, Nathaniel, just back to here in Dublin when you faced Alan Philpott. What has changed since then? Because in the 3 fights since, it's because we always say here, when you see a young fighter and they go away, the next time you see them back in the cage, you can see big differences. But if you look at the Philpott fight till the fight that went on at the weekend, there is a huge gulf in difference. Is it just confidence, or have you changed something in camp, in training?
I wouldn't say I've changed so much, but I've been a lot more, I would say, motivated, you know, since the Philpott fight. But the thing for me was that Philpott fight, my performance, that wasn't me, because once I got my nose broken, you know, I knew that the pressure was on and I had to finish him. You know, with the way that my nose looked, I knew being in Ireland against the Irish fighter, you know, he had the crowd. I knew that I had to finish that fight. So I wasn't thinking straight, you know, I was just rushing, trying to knock him out. When really, when I looked back at the footage, I thought, okay, the fight was closer than I thought. You know, I should have maybe took him down, or there was other options that I could have done. So in the Philpott fight, you know, that wasn't me fighting with a clear head. That was me just trying to finish the guy, you know. So now with my fights, I've kind of stepped back, and when I'm in there, I'm actually using my brain now instead of just fighting like a robot.
And how did you feel being fighting back in the UK? So obviously you fought in Ireland. There's a difference. A lot of guys like going into the enemy territory and fighting the hometown guy. Do you feel that you can put on a better performance with your crowd behind you, or do you like going into the enemy territory like against Philpott?
To be honest, I don't really mind. You know, I used to say that I'd do better again in hostile territory, you know, but to be honest, with the way the crowd was the other day, that gave me a whole new buzz. You know, as soon as I went into that cage, there was no way that this guy was taking that belt from me with that crowd that I had supporting me, you know. So, you know, now I'm the champ and I get to decide when I defend the belt. You know, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do everything I can to be defending it in London again.
And is the plan, because there was a quick turnaround with the Von Lee fight to the fight against Marko as well, is the plan now to take some time out, enjoy the summer, or is it looking to defend the belt and straight back into camp?
I'm going to take a little bit of time out, you know, where I've had 3 back-to-back fight camps, you know, it's kind of taken its toll on my body and mentally. So, you know, I feel like I deserve to have a little bit of a rest and spend a bit of time with my family and my girlfriend, etc. So, yeah, you know, but at the moment, because I'm still buzzing from that fight, I'm eager to get back in there now. But, yeah, you know, I'm going to try and say to myself, no, take some time out, you know, have a rest. It will be better for me in the long run. And I'll see what Cage Warriors and my manager come up with, you know, and see when they want me to defend the belt and see where it will be.
One thing I got to point out as well is just before you got stepped into the cage on Saturday evening, the first shots of the fight were landed by one punch Brad Pickett. Is that something that is now become a custom every time you step in there to take a few slaps off Brad?
Yeah, well, ever since my first semi-pro fight, my dad's always given me the slaps. And he's taken a step back from being in my corner now because he said, look, I want Brad and your head coaches now to take that role. So luckily for Brad, you know, I've given him the role of giving me a good few slaps before the fight. So I think with the amount of times I annoy him in training camp and stuff like that, you know, he takes it out on me with them 3 slaps. But yeah, you know, I always want him to do it. You know, it gets me psyched and gets me in the zone.
And what's it like having Brad in your corner? You know, Brad's obviously a legend of UK MMA, a legend of MMA in general. What's it like actually having him in your corner?
Oh, it's amazing. With the amount of experience that Brad's got, you know, and that he can give me at such a young age, you know, I honestly, it helps me so much when I go in there knowing that I've got someone with his amount of experience behind me.
And what's Brad been like since he retired? Has there been any change in Brad? Has he changed at all, or is he the same guy?
No, if anything, you know, it helps me more because he's literally there for me 100% of the time now, you know. When obviously he was fighting, he went out to America and he had to focus on his own training. But now, you know, I can't get rid of the guy. You know, if I'm even just trying to sit down and have a break and a bit of cake, he's on me, you know. When are you training? Where are you? You know, so, yeah, it's definitely helped my career having him literally full-time as my head coach, you know. But the guy, honestly, he's an amazing guy, you know. He's done so much for me, and outside of training, you know, he's always there for me. I'm always around his house, and, you know, I'm really close with him, so I'm truly blessed to have him behind me, you know.
Something you spoke about as well, Nathaniel, is maybe looking at featherweight as well. Is that something you want to do within Cage Warriors, is maybe to take a run at the featherweight title as well?
Yeah, you know, I've been saying for a while now that I don't want to keep cutting to bantamweight. You know, I like my food and I can't stand cutting weight. It takes the enjoyment out of it for me. And to me, I think if you're not enjoying something, why are you doing it? So I would definitely be happy to fight at featherweight and, you know, and I'll give up a couple of kilos to the heavier guy. But, you know, my manager and Brad, they're like, nope, you're staying at bantamweight. You know, you just got to suck it up and you can't have Nando's and stuff and you've got to make weight. So, you know, if that's what they want, you know, I said to them, look, as long as it's big fights, then I'm happy to go to bantamweight. And straight away, my manager come up with the Von Lee fight, you know, and then now it's been the bantamweight title. So, yeah, you know, if Graham Boylan and my manager say, look, we'll let you fight for the featherweight belt, you know, I'd definitely be up for that. But if not, you know, it looks like I've got to be making 61 again.
Do you have that argument with your coaches about going up to featherweight? Because we've seen with a lot of guys moving up, they've had a lot of success with the speed advantage they have over their opponents. Have you had that discussion and have you fought your case, or do you just kind of do what your coaches say to keep them happy?
Yeah, I've had that argument with him, but it's usually always when I'm a few weeks out from a fight and I'm cutting a lot of weight, you know, and I'm getting miserable. So they always just say to me, look, just get your fight done and then we'll talk about it. And then after every fight, they say, yeah, look how good you are at bantamweight, you're staying there, you know. So I'm trying to convince them that it's a good idea, but, you know, they're not having any of it.
Do you think you almost shot yourself in the foot now winning the title? Now you have to actually stay at bantamweight.
Exactly, and I can't have that extra pound allowance either, so it's even more painful.
Realistically as well, Nathaniel, I know obviously Cage Warriors as well are a great, and I don't think they'll mind this being said, they're a great stepping stone for their champions to move on to the premier promotion being the UFC. Another European has moved in there, was Tom Duquesnoy, and he slotted in. He's got his win as well in the bantamweight division. How do you see yourself currently at this stage fitting in with the top guys in the UFC?
I see myself, and I have done for the last year, that I could go in there with anyone in the world, and if I go in there with my A game, I believe that I can put anyone out. You know, I believe that with MMA in the UFC, I don't think there's a huge difference from guys that are on the top promotions outside of the UFC. You know, I've been to the States. I've trained with other UFC fighters my level, and I do absolutely fine against them. You know, what I believe it is that the guys, a lot of it's luck of the draw. You know, you've got to be in the right place at the right time. So yeah, you know, I believe that you could put me in there tomorrow with Cody Garbrandt, and if he doesn't turn up with his A game and I do, I'll knock him out. So yeah, you know, I just got to keep doing what I'm doing, and when I get in there, you know, turn up with my A game and show the world what I can do.
Is that something you think about as well? Like looking ahead, do you think, right, defend this belt 2-3 times, I'm going to get the call? Or if, for example, if the UFC make the call, do you stay back and get more experience with Cage Warriors, 2 or 3 more fights, or do you take that call?
I believe I'm ready now, you know, so whatever my manager and my coaches want me to do, you know, then that's what I'll do. But I said to everyone, you know, of course UFC is where everyone wants to be, but Cage Warriors, I think, is the best promotion outside of the UFC, you know, with the amount of fighters that they have come from their promotion. You know, I'm truly happy to represent Cage Warriors and be their bantamweight champion. You know, so until the UFC come calling and my manager, my coaches, they say, right, we believe you're ready to go, you know, then I literally will just keep fighting whoever Cage Warriors put in front of me.
And if you could have it your way, what's the date that your next fight will happen? When's the next time you step in the cage? If you could have it your exact way.
Early October, end of September maybe, you know, that'll be a good time for me.
Any names, or is just whoever they put to you?
Whoever they put in front of me.
Excellent. Listen, Nathaniel, thanks a million for coming on and taking the time just after the fight as well. A big congratulations. I was hugely impressed.
Yeah. There's the belt.
There it is.
There it is.
Looks good, right?
It does. It fits well as well.
We'll have to get one of them for here.
Just actually, for someone like, what was that feeling like, the home crowd and hearing, and now the Cage Warriors bantamweight champion? Just try to explain with some words how that feels in your hometown.
It made me feel like the last 8 years of hard work I've put in has all been worth it for that moment.
Well said.
Yeah, it's something that, you know, a lot of people will never get to experience. So you've done something that these guys won't have got to do. But again, we may have lost you here just as we're wrapping. But if you can hear us, thanks a million for taking the time to come on with us, and enjoy your summer. And I can't wait to see you back in there defending that belt. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. The prospects soon, that's probably going to get changed pretty soon as well. Nathaniel Wood. Great performance, Rob, watching the fight. Yeah, I really look forward to watching Nathaniel get back in there. Always happens with our interviews, isn't it? Right
at the end, yeah.
Yeah, well, we got the interview in. So
exactly, the most important bit.
So yeah, perfect stuff. So yeah, we're going to move it on, and we're going to hit you up with your obviously Fight Talk quick fire news. Welcome back. This is your obviously Fight Talk quickfire news. Get the 2 minutes on the clock. This is where we say a news article. We speak about it for 2 minutes.
Simple.
For example, on Saturday during UFC 212, the UFC announced that
Kazuki.
I wasn't prepared for this. Kazuki Sakuraba will be inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. The MMA legend will be inducted on July 6th during the International Fight Week as part of the Hall of Fame's Pioneer Wing.
I love it. It's a weird one because I think he's only fought once or something in the UFC, but at this point,
it's more of the MMA Hall of Fame.
Well, it's
once you're not Bellator.
Exactly. It's more of like the Dana White Hall of Fame.
Yeah, the ones we own.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. But like, you know, Sakuraba is absolutely a Hall of Famer. There's no question about that. So there's not too much to argue about it. It's just, I suppose, if you haven't seen Sakuraba fight.
Come here, what did he get for it? Did he get it?
I don't think so. I hope to get something. I don't think they do, but I hope they do. I hope they get like, I don't know, a car or something.
It's like it's like a tip to the hat for what you've done for the sport, but like it's almost like an OBE of MMA, if you like. It's your point. You should be called Sir. You know what I mean? That's what it should be. But yeah, it's I don't know. I'm just intrigued.
I think it does give people an excuse now to go back and watch old Sakuraba fights. Like he's been in there with everybody. The Gracie Hunter, as they call him, or the Gracie Killer, some people would say. He's fought everybody and fought out of his weight class, like basically for his whole career, because he fought in Pride, Japanese MMA, and all that. MMA. And yeah, he just had such a great career. Unfortunately, he kind of went a little bit too late at the end, which happens with a lot of these older fighters, especially fighters from the kind of old era. But absolute legend of mixed martial arts. You can't disagree with his induction. It's a nice tip to the hat to a legendary figure.
It's weird, right? Did they always do this? Announce everyone they're going to induct before the induction? Yeah. Maybe I was asleep for these things, but I'm just like, it's no surprise. Like, you'd be like, it's like going to the Oscars, going, yeah. We know. I can't think of an actor in my head. Well, like De Niro wins, doesn't he? Yeah, all right, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but they always do that. Like, it's every Hall of Fame does that. You have to know. If you don't know, they're not going to be there. Yeah, it's not like a lottery.
Yeah. Well, you might have Diego Sanchez pissed, going, yes, yes.
Up next, a big fight of local interest has been added to BAMMA 30 with rising Irish star Ryan Curtis challenging for the Lonsdale European title against Spain's Daniel Movahedi. Corta.
Big fight. He's getting a shot at the belt. Makes sense. BAMMA are being smart. Ryan Curtis is an absolute animal. He had to pull out the last fight, was it, with injury, was it? Yeah. But yeah, he's one of the big names on the Irish scene here. A huge following. Huge following. He's from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, from across the road.
So check your pockets. But now Curtis absolutely. I'm watching Curtis years. I've seen him as a young amateur coming up through the scenes, and he's always in exciting fights. He's always looking for the finish. Obviously training under Owen Roddy. He's an absolute beast, and he's probably the shining light out of Roddy's gym, be fair to say.
Yeah, I think like, even when you talk to, or when Roddy's talking on interviews and stuff, he's gonna talk about one of his fighters. It's usually Ryan he talks about. Yeah. And if you look at if you haven't seen him, look at Owen Roddy's kind of breakdowns. You ever see his post-fight breakdowns he does? Kind of like the Gracie breakdown. Yeah. It's always Ryan doing it as well with him. Yeah. And he's always in the gym. Like, we're going to try to get him on the show. Yeah. Spoiler alert. But he's either working or he's in the gym.
I'm going to regret we'll try that check your pockets thing.
You will regret it. You've said that about every single guest we've got from Dublin 1. So
that's because they're all from the north side.
It is.
No offence to north side listeners. Now, Kurt, I'm delighted to see him. I'm looking forward to covering BAMMA 30 again with obviously Fight Talk. Yeah. And obviously, you're not biased when you're a journalist, but let's be honest, we hope Kurt wins the fight. Like, you know what I mean? We want a European title in staying in Dublin. Don't know much about his opponent. We'll have to look into it a little bit more. Yeah, but
I haven't seen an awful lot of him.
Expect as the name is, chaos with Corta, because he's an absolute beast in there. And
always
big opportunity.
Fights. Yeah, big and title fight. He's getting what he wanted. He has a good record now. Impressive kind of wins already in BAMMA. So I'm looking forward. I think it's gonna be a good fight, even though I don't know a whole lot about his opponent. We'll look into him.
He's also doing a lot of work with the lads out of Lionheart as well. On Instagram.
I'm sure his striking is up to snuff now.
Yeah, so
as it always was.
Yeah. Western Australia can use the cage once again after being sworn in as the new Western Australia government in March. The McGowan Labour Party has legalised the use of a cage for mixed martial art bouts in the state. The ban was officially lifted on Friday. Isn't it weird the way, like, to the untrained eye, or to not even untrained eye, that's a bit, to someone who doesn't watch MMA, they might see the cage and go, they're fighting in a cage. But it is purely, it's not even there for aesthetics. No. It's there for the safety of the fighter. Yeah. Me personally, think about it logically. If you are an MMA fighter...
You're making the mistake that these people think about it logically. No, but that's your first mistake.
Yeah, I give them credit.
Okay.
If I'm running at you to take you to... Well, it's not running, but you know what I mean. If I get a double leg on you and I'm pushing through to push you up against a cage, we're not going to fall through a cage.
Yeah.
We're going to fall through ropes.
Yeah, and we've seen people fall through ropes. And
like you even think, you look at boxers who are in a clinch with another against the ropes, or even you look at Muay Thai or K1. No, there's a couple of times fighters go over the ropes from leaning over. So with double leg takedowns, all the stuff that happens up against the cage walking and stuff, the cage is there primarily, but not primarily, 100% is there for fighter safety, to stop them falling out of the fighting.
Yeah, like if you listen, arena. If you watch and listen or read about how the UFC came to be, aside from all the crazy stuff that they were talking about putting them out with sharks and stuff around, that was obviously, you know, just for the blood sport aspect of the sport back then. But the whole reason for the cage was to safely keep them in the ring and have, as much as possible, have some kind of arena where they can free fight. And obviously the cage does add things where you can have clinches up against the cage. You won't have that in a free fight unless you're up against a wall or something. But it was purely to keep them in the cage and not let them fall out. You couldn't do ring because you had the ropes, you could fall through them. So the cage was the logical thing. It's definitely for safety if you look any part into it, which unfortunately these people don't a lot of the time. But it's all the aesthetic reasons. That's the reason why it wasn't in, because it's just the aesthetic thing.
Funny thing as well, though, as far as I am aware, if you're holding an event in a venue, insurance is dearer when you have a cage than it is when you have a ring.
Really? It's insane.
Look into that, but yeah.
It's an important story, but it's a story that doesn't really need any discussion today. War Machine, who was born Jonathan Copenhaver, who competed in the Ultimate Fighter and also fought for Bellator, was sentenced to 36 years to life by the Clark County District Court judge on Monday in a sexual assault case and kidnapping case involving his ex-girlfriend Christine McInday, publicly known as Christy Mac. There's no really point in talking about it. He got what he deserved, 100%. If you remember the story, he basically beat her up and there was some sexual assault. Apparently they were broken up and he broke in. She was with a new man or whatever, with a new partner, and he almost killed her. Like
scumbag. Simple. Scumbag. You're dressing it up being nice. He was a scumbag, and he got locked away for being a scumbag. And fair play to the judge. Apparently, he was offered 16 years earlier, and that offer was put to the defence, and they said no, we want the longer sentence, and he got 36 years to life. It's quite funny that he's now said he's found God, and he thinks he'll be a good role model for people. Fuck off and rot in the cell, you fucking scumbag. 36 years is 36 years that I hope he serves every minute of it. He won't be out until he's late in his 70s. And
hopefully he won't get out.
Because scumbag, and that's just a scumbag. Moving on. Clan Wars 28 took place on Sunday in Belfast. The leading Irish MMA promotion was at a new venue in Girdwood Community Hall. The new venue staged a memorable day of fights. The main event seeing Rhys McKee making his comeback win. He hadn't fought since the IMAFs. He won the Clan Wars featherweight title by stopping Alex Badouy of Kokoro via rear naked choke in the opening round. Alex was a little disappointed with it. He'd said himself on Facebook that he'd rather get the head thumped off him in 3 rounds than be stopped. He went in for the takedown, got the takedown in the scramble. Ross got his back adjusted and got the rear naked choke. Other standout bouts were Callum Liston, that man I didn't stop talking about from SPG Swords, in an absolute stunning fight with Paddy Henderson. Jesus, was a great fight. Henderson landed some big shots. Liston, beautiful work, clinching and holding Henderson up against the cage. But it was something that I loved what he implemented when he had him up against the cage. He wasn't just leaning on him. He was throwing horrendously sore knees to the thighs, but he was landing loads of shots, and Henderson was wearing it on his face. Listen, got the win by a beautiful dash choke in the third. One fight that really stood out for me was Mickey Doran, who took on Don Cowan in a short notice fight. Basically what happened here is both fighters' opponents fell out the day before, I believe, and the day of. And they agreed to fight at lightweight. And this potentially was fighting out with both men looking to finish the fight, and both of them were hunting for the finish. It was an unbelievable fight. The finish did come in the second round as Darren got the TKO. Stunning show at Clan Wars. Expect all the fights to be up on YouTube over the coming days and week.
With your commentary.
You'll hear me and Phil saying some magical things in commentary. But yeah, Clan Wars 28 again, another successful show. The new venue was phenomenal. I had beautiful. I had a tiered seats all the way up, so it's great for spectators. You know, if you've ever attended an MMA show, sometimes it's difficult if you're in like if you're in a big hotel room or something, and you're like 10, 15 rows back. Yeah, you've 10 or 15 rows of heads in front of you before you see the cage. The cage. Yeah, so when you have the tiered seating, it worked really well.
So much better.
But yeah, it was a great night of fights. There was a lot of really high level fights. A lot of young up and coming amateurs. They done this great thing, I have to say, actually at the start. They call it Clan Wars Challengers.
I've seen that actually.
And it was basically, the idea of it was lads having exhibition fights. There was no pressure of this. It was like the Ultimate Fighter fight, if you like. They were 2-minute rounds, and they fell under the amateur rules. There was no knees to the head. All that rule set there, but there wasn't the pressure of this being a loss on your record, and there were guys who were green, you know what I mean? It was their first time stepping in. It gave them the experience of fighting on a big show like Clan Wars, and it gave them the experience of fighting in the cage for the first time. And it was 4 fights, and the 4 fights delivered as well. There were 4. Like, I honestly think if you turned up to the show and you were unaware, you missed me announcing this as a challenger fight, you wouldn't be going, oh, these lads are quite novice, aren't they? It didn't look that way at all. And it was a great idea. Paul, great idea and a great addition to the card as well. But to everyone in Clan Wars, from everything, the fighter safety is to a high level. You have the cuts team there, Joe Clifford's cut team, Jess and Deb were there. You've great referees like Aaron Wallace, Decky Larkin, who's going to be refereeing at BAMMA as well. Shout out to Decky. He's going, what do I have to do to get on your show? And I said, well, now you're reffing on BAMMA, we might get you.
Do you bring the numbers?
Yeah, bring the numbers. If you can guarantee us 3 listeners,
we'll take it.
You're on.
Yeah.
But a great success, Clan Wars 28, and no doubt Clan Wars 29. I've known Paul the way I do. Paul will already be working on that. But check them out. The fights will be up on YouTube, and it was a stunning night of fights. And I got home early.
Very nice. That's always good, isn't it?
Yeah, I was back in Dublin at 9 o'clock. So what more do you want on a Sunday?
9 o'clock?
No, I was home at 9 o'clock. Yeah, first fight kicked off at 2:30. It said 2:30 on the card. Fight starts at 2:30. Do you know what time the fight started at?
2:30?
2:30. It said on the main card, first fight 3:30. Do you know what time that started at?
6.
3:30. And we were all home and happy on a bank holiday Sunday.
That's cool, man.
Beautiful stuff. So let's move on and let's recap something that went down at the weekend. I believe it was a fight, a pretty decent fight.
Yeah.
UFC 212 went down the weekend, and I didn't get to watch it live. I watched it afterwards because I was up early to go to Clan Wars. But Rob, let's start at the top. I think you have to start at the top. You had who many people consider the greatest featherweight of all time, and then you have the guys who just tweet 13 seconds with a smiley face to everything that is mentioned with Jose Aldo. I expect at least one 13-second smiley face under this now. But Jose Aldo took on Max Holloway in your main event of the evening. What did we think of the fight?
Absolutely phenomenal performance by Max Holloway. One of the best performances you probably see. Like I kind of put up there with probably even better than the Aldo against Edgar performance. Nobody has done that to Jose Aldo. Nobody has done that to Jose Aldo. Conor knocked him out in 13 seconds, but that's different. And that's not me saying that if Conor and Aldo fought, it would be any closer or Conor couldn't do that. But nobody has done that to Jose Aldo. Nobody has shown that. From what Max Holloway done on the feet, the first 2 rounds were probably Jose Aldo's. I think it's safe to say that. But you kind of see Max Holloway growing into the fight, and he was learning from what Aldo was doing. There's a couple of things that Aldo didn't do that I think we can talk about was the leg kicks, and there's a lot of discussion about that.
And during the round as well, you had Brian Stan giving out stats saying, you know, Jeremy Stevens landed 23, 26, and Ricardo Lamas landed kicks, and he was naming all the media, and why isn't Jose Aldo doing it? I think Jose Aldo wasn't doing it for a couple of reasons. But one of them being he was in the opening rounds, he was having great success with his hands. He was sitting down on a lot of his shots. He was landing. One thing I noticed with Max Holloway in the opening round was he stood in front of Jose a lot. I was expecting a lot more movement from Holloway.
Well, maybe that played into the no leg kicks. Maybe when Aldo wasn't throwing the leg kicks, Holloway was content to stay in front of him. Because you're right, there was moments there in the fight when they were almost in a boxing range. They were like standing right in front of each other with about a couple of inches in front of between them. Like they were basically standing right in the pocket. And you don't really see that an awful lot in MMA. You see guys go into the pocket and land and move out. But you don't really see people stand in the pocket for an extended period of time, especially two high level guys. And especially a guy like Aldo who likes to get in and out, and a guy like Holloway who moves a lot. And they were standing. That's the first thing I noticed. Like, I was sitting there and my girlfriend was watching, and I was like, the range. And she was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I was just like, the range, it's crazy, like, because they were standing right in front of each other.
Well, what I thought as well with it, like, I thought Jose, when he was throwing a lot of meat on his punches. He was really trying to get the finish, and he a very successful first round. He landed a good combination on Holloway that backed Holloway up, and he went with the flying knee to try and land as well, and he was throwing big shots, but I thought Holloway was doing enough to avoid it and just slip and be out of reach and out of range of a lot of the shots, although Aldo had a lot of success in it. But I agree with what you're saying, that Aldo won the first two rounds, but I felt Holloway was getting more into his rhythm.
The momentum was shifting. Even though Aldo was winning the rounds, you could kind of see the momentum as it kept going. It was shifting. Max Holloway was getting more, I suppose, into the fight. He was getting more comfortable.
He was feeling the rhythm of the fight.
And then when he started taunting him, but you'd have to say as well, Max Holloway has a serious chin. Oh, yeah. Because some of them shots that Jose Aldo landed would put a lot of featherweights out. Yeah,
and he'd smile at him, which is the note of, you got me. Yeah. And he was calling Aldo on, and Aldo would land a shot, and Holloway would smile to go, yeah, you got me. But for me, when he stood, and I mean, they were, as you were alluding to with the range, they were right in front of one another. Like, Aldo just has to stretch his hand out when he would have touched Holloway, and Holloway stood like that with his hands up in front of him. And I'm there going, holy fuck, Max Holloway has turned into Nick and Nate Diaz here. And there was a couple of slaps in there as well. The Hawaii 5-0 slaps were going and landing. But when Holloway found his groove, there was it was sheer shot selection. But one thing I want to say, it was fundamentals. It was 1-2s.
Yeah, the 1-2s.
And what he was doing as well, he throw the 1-2, and as Aldo countered, slip his counter and throw the 1-2 again. And that's what led to the actual knockdown. Yeah. It was a 1-2, Aldo tried to strike, he moved out of range, and 1-2 again, and it put Aldo down. The momentum of Aldo's counter played against him, and he knocked him down with the 1-2 combination. When it went to the ground, two things. Jose Aldo's fight and desire to recover position.
Insane.
And he was rocked and he was hurt. But his ability to, like, Holloway got into mount briefly. He recovered half guard, and then he'd push away. Holloway would follow. He was turning. He was constantly shrimping, looking to improve his position. This was a hurt Jose Aldo. He was fighting for his life. It eventually got to the stage where Holloway was doing everything. He went for the rear naked choke. It didn't work. He transitioned back into full mount. Landed heavy shots as well. Holloway's, for what Aldo was doing in survival, was equaled. And it was like somebody showed Holloway a cheat book to say, right, when Aldo does this, you this is what you do to counter it. He was one step ahead of Aldo each time. And every time Aldo bettered his position, Holloway counteracted and got into a better position again. When it came to the finish, he had the two hooks in, and he was landing shots. You could tell referee Big John McCarthy, wasn't it, was saying you got to improve your position, Jose. And it's one thing I always notice at referees meeting, rules meetings, is sitting there covered up. If you're not watching, I'm covering my ears. If you're sitting there, and I think at that stage, although it fought for so long, like between getting knocked down and the finish, I don't know exactly how long was gone, but there must have been a minute and a half of on the ground action at that stage. And I think at that stage, Aldo was like, right, I'll ride out the storm till the end of the round here. That to me is almost what I seen. Yeah,
but he was sitting. He was in pure survival mode. And there's one thing that you
was turtled up at that stage.
But there was one thing you were pointing out about the grappling, which I loved. It was Holloway was almost. It was riding like a wave almost. Any position or any movement that Aldo was making, Aldo had a lovely hip escape, and Holloway just countered it. Rolling. Same thing with all the positions, and like. Of course, Aldo was hurt, but you have to look at Holloway's game and the strides he's made in his grappling. Just look at his striking has always been phenomenal. He's got so much better at it. But you look at his grappling there against Aldo, albeit he was hurt, was very impressive. But yeah, the finish, once you kind of seen Aldo covering up and not really, like he was trying to move. But once you see him
McCarthy,
like
McCarthy had warned him. I thought McCarthy was very good in this.
He
gave him every chance. He gave him the fighter's chance. Yeah. And it wasn't, you know, sometimes you say, the ref let it go too long.
Yeah, I don't.
The shots he was taking where, you know, let's be honest, they're not like, you know, powder puff shots, you know what I mean? They are hurting. But they weren't, you know, big, huge, like, yo, Jesus, stop the fight, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, he wasn't improving his position. He wasn't defending himself sensibly, intelligently. And McCarthy leaned in, and you could hear him speaking to him, saying, you have to improve your position. Jose, I'm going to stop the fight if you don't improve it. He gave him every chance, and I thought it was a great stoppage. Aldo couldn't get out of there, and it was only going to get worse.
Yeah.
There was still a good 50 seconds, I think, on the clock.
Yeah.
But Max Holloway, this guy, I remember watching Max Holloway when he first came into the UFC, and his very first fight, he had a fan of me when I seen him the first time. I said, I like this kid. Class. And I remember when he was matched against Conor McGregor, I was disgusted because I was like, shit, I have to cheer for Conor in this fight. And I was disgusted in that sense. But the tear that Max Holloway is on now, and his confidence, and the thing about it is now, he went from being an interim champion and having the confidence to go and fight. Like, he's gone to Brazil to fight what many people consider the greatest featherweight of all time. He went to his town to beat him as the interim. He is now the champion. The confidence that Max Holloway has and the ability to back up that confidence is absolutely phenomenal. And I think the Edgar fight is probably the fight that's going to happen. But wow, Max Holloway, wow. And even in Victory, when Brian Stan went to interview him, he said, go and speak to Jose first. This is his town. Yeah. This is his people. And, you know, Stan obviously has to go, I know, you know, I got to talk to you, man. But Max Holloway looked absolutely incredible. But my thing is, you know, a lot of people, you put up a post of Jose Aldo, it was a picture from MMA Fighting of him walking out of the cage, and he looked old and disheveled walking out of the cage, and like, man, how time's going. But, like, he didn't lose this fight in, like, you know, the McGregor fight in a way you could say was a worse defeat because it was banging over.
I don't know, because this was a beatdown. This was like, looking at the way Jose Aldo went out in this fight on the ground, that was probably one of the worst beatdowns you can have. He was beat down in grappling, and that is absolutely devastating. Even if there was no strikes in that, the way he was beat down in the grappling exchanges, I'd say his chest was coming out like a fucking, I don't know, his heart was like racing. Just to get out of those positions, like, he done really well defensively. The way he was fighting hands was really good. Max went for a couple of chokes, and Aldo defended, and being hurt, that's impressive. But the strikes that were landed, and just the complete beatdown, hurting the feet, and then absolutely dominated on the ground, and just beat up. I don't know, like, at least with the McGregor one, you know, he can come back and say, I got caught. With that one, it's like, I got beat down pretty badly. So I don't know, it's a tough one. I don't think he's done. I personally don't think he's done.
Well, what's next for Jose Aldo?
What's next for Jose Aldo? Who knows? I'd like to see him at 55. I'd like to see him go up to 55. I think he has a pretty decent frame for it. He's not the biggest guy, but I think against some of the guys at 55, he'd be pretty successful against. I really don't think he's done. Like, he was dropped, but like, I wouldn't say his chin is gone because he stayed in there for so long. So I'd like to see him go to 55. Max, I think Edgar is the perfect matchup. I think that's the matchup you have to make.
This is the UFC's greatest chance to do UFC Hawaii. They have their
need to do
featherweight champion. He's going to fight and defend the title. Like, this is...
And the reaction that Max got going home.
Yeah, like, Max Holloway is, you know, obviously BJ Penn was the guy, you know, but like, Max Holloway is... The streak Max Holloway is on... That's 11-fight win streak now, is it?
Something like that.
So he's on 11-fight win streak. He's the reigning defending champion,
and he's talking now.
This is the perfect. He wears beautiful, horrible shirts. I love a horrible shirt. But Max Holloway, UFC Hawaii, make it happen.
Yeah.
Co-main event of the evening. But let's get it right. Rob's main picks, he went 5-0, so Rob was a smiling princess today. I went 4-1. This is the fight that messed me up. Although I could see this happening, I went with Carolina. But Claudia Cadella gets the win over Carolina Kovacevic.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, whatever. Say it for me and I'll say it.
Kovacevic.
Yeah. Easy. That's what I need to be told.
You need to be told
where's Conor Ryan, me fight star cameraman? Conor, fuck to say that. This you said it to me, Rob, earlier today in work. Carolina just made mistakes that you didn't expect her to make.
Like, what I tweeted when it happened, I didn't watch it live as well. I was tweeting after the fact, just to, sometimes I like to tweet so I can go back and read what my initial reaction was to the fight.
Yeah.
Was that Carolina Cadella done very well to force the back take, but then Carolina kind of gave it up too easy. And once she gave it up, Gadella is just so strong in that position, and she got the choke. There's not a whole lot to say about the fight. I don't think that was the best we can see with Carolina. I don't think if they rematch the same thing would happen. But I just think she made a fundamental mistake in that position, and she does that quite a bit, even on the feet. Like you could see at the start of the fight, she doesn't have the most technical, crisp striking, but it works for her because she throws a lot of volume, and she was actually landing some good shots. And the same thing on the ground, she'll kind of give up back position, she'll scramble, she'll try to get to her feet just to try to play her game. But sometimes when you're against a superior grappler, that can happen. I think that's just what happened, and she gave her back too easily. And Gadella, who's just, that's her game on the ground, and once she gets your back, it's going to be difficult to get out of that position.
Gadella's first finish in the UFC.
Yeah.
As well.
It was impressive. It was very impressive.
This is a weird one, because this is what we've talked about this a good few times with the strawweight division. Like, what's next for Gadella? Does she get Joanna again, third time a charm?
It is a tough sell, though, isn't it?
What's she? Rose Namajunas?
Is Rose getting the next shot?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And there was talk of Rose getting the next shot, but I don't know. It's a hard sell to have Joanna face her again. She's 2-0 now against Gadella. Two close fights. Well, the first fight was very close. Second fight was close up until it ended. But yeah, it's a tough sell. But realistically, based on rankings, she's probably number one. It's closely followed by Rose. So who knows? Maybe if Joanna has to stay out for a while, you do Rose Gadella.
Yeah, I just think it's such a weird sell, and it's tough on all the fighters in the division, because it's like you get one or two fights and you got to take on Joanna. A couple of notable shout outs on the night that Rob was disgusted with was Vitor Belfort got the win over Nate the Great Marcotte.
I wasn't disgusted.
You said to me Nate won that fight.
I thought Nate won the fight.
And you slammed your hand on the table.
No, I didn't.
It was very out of character.
I did not. No, it was a close fight, but I thought Nate won it.
Paulo Barachahina against Bambose.
Terrifying.
It was a crazy fight, wasn't it? Bambose just literally thought, look, I've got 3 minutes here, lads.
Yeah.
I'm going to go hell for leather for 3 minutes.
Yeah, and he was doing okay, for those 3 minutes. He was landing some good shots. But that's just typical Bambose, isn't it? He comes in like a... I don't know what the word is, but it comes in and
a coked up methead on fucking fight night. No, he came looking for the finish, and Paulo weathered that storm because he landed some big shots, big kicks. But then I noticed that Paulo landed one big body kick himself, and that seemed to be the holy fuck, where's me Brett gone moment as well. The round finished with Paulo Barachahina coming out on top. Although this was a complete Bambosa definitely won 2.5 minutes of the first round, and Paulo definitely won 2.5 minutes of the first round.
There was moments there though when he was being chased down, when Bambosa was chased down by Paulo, and it was like a lion chasing a gazelle. The way he was just chasing him, and Paulo is huge.
The body shots he was landing, I thought, was very intelligent. I think Brian Stan alluded to that as well.
He was landing good shots.
That doesn't look good on camera.
No, it doesn't.
But the body shots he landed because Bambosa was covering up his head, so got to the body. A big fight that stood out for me, I thought it was a great fight, was Yancy Medeiros taking on Eric Silva. Silva claiming early stoppage.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think the stoppage was fine. He was hurt. He got dropped.
It was a great fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a great fight. It was beautiful. It was people are comparing it to the Dan Hardy one. The Dan Hardy, Carlos Condit kind of the way you both exchanged the hooks. I think it was the opposite hands.
Medeiros threw a big right and just missed, and then came back. It almost looked like he was out of balance, and then came back around.
It's kind of what we said though, wasn't it? That Medeiros probably just has the better chin and similar level in striking. You kind of seen that, and Medeiros just kind of out-volumed them, outworked them, and landed with...
It was definitely a flash knockout. Like, when he put him down, it was...
on his ass.
He done the blink. But he was getting up. But for me, people are saying he was intelligently defending himself. He was sitting up a bit, and he was getting... Like, I think the end was coming anyway.
Yeah, like, it's... The referee, as Dan would say, the referee is there to prevent further damage, not allow a fighter be inflicted with more damage. So I don't have any problem with the...
Any other fights stand out for you before we move on and get...
Shoeface. Antonio
Carlos
Jr. Yeah, that was an excellent fight against Eric Spicely. Watch that fight if you're a fan of grappling. They were doing some crazy transitions. There was a Baron Bolo in there. You don't see that an awful lot. Watch that fight. That was a good one.
Yeah,
and the Marlon Moraes fight was a close fight.
Yeah, you also thought he slammed his fist on that one as well.
Nah, that was another close fight. I think the Nate one was a little bit more clear in my opinion. I think Nate should have won it. I think that this one was razor thin, but somebody gave it 30-27 scorecard, which I completely disagree with.
I want to finish you with one question. So I want you to summarise this. Answer your answer to this. Summarise it. Don't be talking nonsense for ages. But here's my question for you. After UFC 212, has the featherweight division moved on from Conor McGregor?
Yes.
Yep. So that was UFC Fight Camp. The recap for UFC 212. Nice. I thought you would have said a few words. Now.
Do you want me to say a few words?
No. That's fine. It's just that's the shadow of McGregor being the champion who was stripped of his belt. Have we moved on from that now? Was the point of the question?
Yeah, I was gonna honestly, I was gonna write something on this because
do we have a worthy champion now?
We have a worthy champion. We have a guy who seems to want to defend the belt. Yeah. If you listen to his post-fight interviews, he says, "No, I don't want to go for money fights. I want to actually defend the belt. I want to be that champion. I want to be like the BJ Penn who went in there and beat everybody in front of him." We have a guy who's clearly, I think you can say, is the best featherweight in the world right now. No fluke. That fight was, the finish was complete. There was there's no maybe the referee stopped it early. It was he absolutely beat up Jose Aldo, won the title, and I think the featherweight division is looking pretty good now. Yep,
and I hope Edgar and Holloway is the fight made because I think it's a great fight.
But I also think Holloway versus McGregor. If that fight happens even if that happens at 55.
If I was like a little small Hispanic Mexican looking man with a little beard who doesn't work for them anymore, that's the fight I'd be making, man. Joe Silva would make Holloway McGregor.
I don't think anybody can make Holloway McGregor right now.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, so that was your recap. Boom. And let's get Skeletor on the phone. Joining us from TriStar, I think he's going to be in TriStar Gym, is Rhys McKee. So, yeah, piece of candy. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and I'm delighted to say we are joined by, this must be his fourth or fifth appearance now at this stage.
Apart from the one that we didn't get out.
So Rhys McKee, all the way from Canada this time though, training out in TriStar at the moment. Rhys, thanks for taking time out during Fight Camp to come on to obviously Fight Talk.
No, cool guys. Always a pleasure to be on the show. Obviously I'm in a different location this time, but always a pleasure.
May as well, it seems we're addressing it straight away. If noise does come out, there's a little bit of construction being done at where Rhys is there at the moment. But Rhys, how are you finding it out there? Is it a different level? Just talk us through the experience so far.
Yeah, it's been a phenomenal experience. Yeah, it took me 5 or 6 days to get in the process with jet lag and stuff like that. But I pretty much jumped in the mat straight away, and the mats are just so deep here. There's so many UFC fighters to Bellator fighters to all the big promotions are here, and so the standard of training partner is really second to none. There's no such thing as an easy roll or an easy spar in the mat, and already I'm starting to reap the benefits of that, and I can feel how that's going to improve my game. It's been phenomenal so far, and I'm another 2.5 weeks left here. So
was that the idea? Was this always the idea from a few months back, or was this a reaction to the last fight or the last couple of fights?
No, I'll never make a decision off any fight like that. This is something that I've always wanted to do my whole career, and since quitting my job, and got a bit of money behind me, so it definitely seemed the right time to do it. Whether I won that fight or lost that last fight, I would have been here. So it was the time to do it, and. Listen, it's going to bring me on as a martial artist so much more, not just for this fight, not just for my next 2 fights, for my whole career. This will be a massive step for me.
There's a lot of fighters, they do travel and they like to train and travel, but some people like to stay back home and the comforts of their own home they maybe find a little better. Since you've been over there, how do you feel? What do you think this is going to be a thing you're going to do in the future more, or are you going to probably mainly stay at home?
For sure. This will be somewhere I would like to do most of my camps. I'm not going to lie, the first 5 or 6 days was extremely tough, but you just want to go home. You're used to your comforts, and maybe next time I'd like to kind of maybe bring the girlfriend out for a month or something like that. Something like what Joe Duffy done. I think that would make a considerable change. Just having a familiar face around, but my gym back home is phenomenal. I love it. You know, I would have no problem doing a camp there again. Like of course that is my gym, like obviously. So no, I'll always be doing most of my work at home, but I like coming out here for 3-4 weeks maybe. You know.
And talk us through the day over there, because I'm sure it's eat, train, sleep, repeat at the moment, is it?
Yeah, well, you wake up and you have 10 a.m. no gi jiu-jitsu, so that's pretty much every morning. You have your sparring days twice a week, so that'll be at say 12 in the afternoon. You've always got your evening sessions at about 6 to 7, or maybe they start at like 6 or 7, you know, and within them few hours in between, that's when you do your strength and conditioning or your mobility work or your foam rolling or your bag work, any of that stuff, you know. So you really have the whole day just to train, eat and rest and recover. So, you know, I find it weird, you know, I do a session and I come back and I lie down and eat and recover, and it's like, you know, it's absolute madness. Like this is what the full-time athletes are really getting, you know. It's an absolute environment to breed fighters.
And is that something that there was a picture you shared on Instagram and Facebook of you sitting in discussion with Joseph Duffy? Is that something was that just the Irish that the two of you sort of came together, or is it just like that in essence with everyone there? Everyone's there to sort of assist one another if they see something, give advice.
You know, it's like that with everyone, but you know yourself, when you see another Irish person like in a different country, you just attract. It's like a magnet, you know. So we were just, to be honest, that chat wasn't even about fighting. It was just about how he got there, and you know, just our overall journeys. It wasn't actually anything fight specific. It's just sometimes, you know, it's nice not to talk about fighting like 10 other fighters. So no, Joe's a good lad, and he really helped. He's really helped me a lot in my time here already.
And what's it like being basically staying over there in the gym? What's it like? What's that experience like?
Cool. A lot of people think it's the ghetto, but like it's not. It's definitely not rough, or it's not anything like that. Like I would definitely recommend it to a fighter if they're serious about improving their game to come to TriStar dorms. You know, it's the work. As you can hear, there's a bit of work being done now, and like this place is going to be phenomenal. But you know, it's not obviously it's not the fancies of a hotel, but it's exactly what you need, everything you need here.
Looking back, Rhys, I want to bring it back to BAMMA 28. It was the first time you tasted defeat as a professional. Have you watched the fight back on a few occasions? And what's your thoughts with looking back over the fight?
I haven't watched it. If I'm being 100% truthful, I have not watched the fight yet. You know, in my head, I can't really see the point of watching that fight because I know how I felt before it. You know, it's you know, it's like watching yourself doing, say you've done a bad interview with someone, you wouldn't watch it. You know what went wrong, so I just moved on from that experience. You know, as I know I was winning the round up until the finish, which I suppose I can't really say because he got the finish, but I felt like I was in total control of the round, just a bit sick. But next time it'll be totally different, that's for sure.
You're scheduled now to fight somebody who you faced before, in Richie Smullen. On the last broadcast, it seemed like Coach John Kavanagh was pushing Smullen to fight Tim Barnett on the TV broadcast. That didn't happen, but in a way this has to be seen as a #1 contenders bout. How did the fight come about for you? Was it a matter of I don't care who it is, I just want somebody who's going to get me back to that title fight?
No, well, obviously, you know, I was quite public. I felt I definitely should have got the rematch. They said no to that. They tried to give me another guy, but that kind of fell through medical reasons or whatever. So I guess the only one that made sense was the Richie fight again. I really wasn't too bothered. I just wanted it on the card. So listen, the Richie fight makes sense. You know, it gets me that rematch with Tim, but you know, I know I had the title, but I'm not too fussed on playing into this little title circle, you know. It's not about the title for me, or it's not about being the #1 contender. I know where I'm at in the division or in the UK, so you know, the title's nice. It looks nice for photos and stuff, but yeah, I'm not too fussed on that, you know. I just want the fights.
One thing that everybody will comment when Richie Smullen is fighting is watch the heel hook, watch the knee bar. Like, I know, like, when you fought one another, it was back in 2014. So at that stage, I know you won that fight, if I'm right, by a first round submission. You're both different martial artists now at this time. So do you think that fight will have anything to do with this fight?
No, I don't think it'll be any relevance to this fight. You know, I wouldn't even say I've one up on him. You know, we did fight before, but like I said, he's a different animal, but I'm a different animal. And you know, all these people can say, watch out for this, watch out for that, but listen, the fight starts on my terms, and he has to focus on me before I focus on him. You know, like, watch out for my right hand, we could say, you know. But listen, Richie's a dangerous martial artist, and I'm a dangerous martial artist in my game. So two styles are going to collide, and you know, I feel mine will come out on top in the night.
In a way, as well, with the defeat, do you find, because like I know when wins are happening, everybody jumps on board and everyone wants to be on the train. But have you found a difference in that defeat? Did you find, you know, people are different towards you, or have you noticed that, in that, you know, you're not everyone's guy that they're all running to, going, oh, Rhys McKee, you know, that they are just, when he's winning, yeah, we'll speak to you. Have you noticed that type of thing?
Oh, for sure. You know, when you're coming off a loss, you're not really as relevant, are you? So I have a mental log of, you know, the people that did, you know, kind of run when I get beat. So like, fuck them, you know. I don't need them on my team, for sure. And this is my journey, and mentally I'm in a good place now, you know. Like I'm just grinding. I'm not posting shit on social media. I'm not posting anything rubbish, you know. I'm just focusing on getting better. And you know, 7th of July is the only thing that matters to me. Like, fuck all the other bullshit and all the fake people that try to come with you, because that's all they are. They're just fake, you know, and they're just hang on coattails.
One thing I noticed that you've put emphasis on leading to this fight is you're not concentrating on selling tickets or kind of playing to that kind of angle. Looking back at the last fight, do you kind of regret anything that happened? Like, when you spoke to us after you won the title, you were basically saying that you were going to take your time, you weren't going to, you know, push to get onto the Belfast card if it didn't feel right. Do you almost regret, maybe, I'm not sure if you know, you pushed for it because the fans are looking for it, but you almost regret some of the things that happened leading up to the fight? Would you have done something different if you could go back?
No, I don't think I could have done anything different. You know, I don't think I could have done anything different, social media wise or attention wise or anything like that. You know, it was just pure sickness, and I mean, it's frustrating because there was nothing I could have done to change that. You know, yes, I wouldn't have fought. I certainly wouldn't have fought if I was a bit more wise. You know, I would have said, you know what, to hell with the show and to hell with the tickets I've sold, and like, just focus on the fight, because I wasn't 100%. But that's all easy being said now, you know, and it's going to play a big part in my journey. You know, it's taught me a lot. Like, don't be the man for the promotion just to save the show. Like, fuck that. It's my journey, not theirs.
Does that put an awful lot of pressure on fighters, especially locally, when you sell a lot of tickets and you have a lot of people going to the show? You have that pressure of not pulling out fights when you probably should.
Yeah, well, I've never like pulling out fights, you know, unless it was absolutely necessary. But I was just naive, you know. I thought I could go in there and give it a good minute and a half and put them out there, and you know, it just didn't work, and the energy just fell, and I was sapped. So I was a bit naive, but like I've matured a lot from that scenario, and that for sure won't happen again. You know, obviously I don't believe I'll fall ill again, and if I do, I know what I would do now, but like, touch wood, that won't happen, you know.
I can't wait to see. I'm like a broken record with some things I say about when young fighters go away and they come back in, and like I've said it to you when we speak, just standing beside one of their shows or whatever. I absolutely love watching you fight, and this, in a way, I can't wait to see this new version of Rhys. Not that it's a new version, the fact that you're going over, you're doing TriStar, even if you were just the next gen, just to see that next level. You've given up your work, you've gone full time. So I just can't wait to see the end product in this, and I can't wait to see that in Dublin in July.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and I tell you who's even more excited is me. You know, mentally it's going to be a different fighter. Physically, every area is going to be different. You know, when you're surviving on the mats with the guys that are out here, you know, I'm looking forward to the fight to getting a break, to be honest. But like, no, listen, mentally you're going to see a different Rhys, and I think that's the biggest benefit about going outside of your comfort zone.
100%. Listen, me man, thank you so much for taking time as well in between training there, sessions as well. We appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of the 2.5 weeks out there as well, and leave the Rhys McKee mark out in Canada, so they'll be all tuning in to watch you in July, my man.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you again for having me on the show. Always a pleasure.
Cheers, Rhys.
Gent,
See you in
absolute
July.
star. Take care, me man. Take care.
Right, see you.
There you go. Rhys McKee, I really cannot wait to see him. I know it is something we always say, and again, he's finding another incredible prospect in Richie Smullen.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see what game plans both implement against one another. As Rhys said in the interview there, you know, yeah, I got to worry about ankle locks and knee bars, but like Smullen's got to worry about my right hand and my left hand, you know.
Exactly, yeah. And I know in the interview he done before as well, he said he's not going to TriStar to work on that defence.
Yeah.
Like, that's going to be a part of the game, obviously, but he's going over there to learn that will do him for the rest of his career, not just one fight. And it's a great fight. Two really, really good prospects in Irish MMA. So
if you look at what he's rolling with, there at the moment, if he survives, I'm guarantee he's surviving every possible submission attempts over there as well. So you know, he's going to be well versed on every aspect of the mat, I think. But it's a great fight. It's an intriguing fight, and for me, that's going to be potentially fight tonight at BAMMA 30. What's been announced so far. But honest to God, I would not that I'm saying he would do this, but I would watch Rhys McKee fight outside of Chipper if I got to watch Rhys McKee fight.
Yeah.
I just think the guy is
so
a young superstar.
Excellent player.
Yeah. And he's sound as well, as you said in an interview. We were saying, you know, Tim Barnett's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
Rhys McKee is just an ultimate gentleman. He's the nicest.
That's what we said. Remember,
I keep calling him a kid. He's a kid that fucking seriously beat me up.
Yeah,
but like,
but that's
I'm a big fan
one of the things we said when we had our first interview with Tim. I kind of said, I got the same impression I got off Rhys the first time, just like he's a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Similar, both two nice guys, and
they're
absolute
just
badasses.
Unfortunately, both of them have the same dream, and their paths will cross sometimes.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
So that's it.
Good rematch, though.
Yeah, but I can't wait if it comes along.
Yeah.
I think it will eventually. If it
so,
comes under the BAMMA banner, all well and good, but how good would it be if it came under the UFC banner?
Yeah.
For both fighters.
Yeah, it'd be cool.
So let's move on, Rob. We are going to talk a little bit about Demetrious Johnson and the UFC.
Yeah.
Shit's got real, homie.
Interesting times, isn't it?
Yeah. So Demetrious Johnson appeared on our sister podcast,
the little one,
Mama Hour or something, with Ariel Helwani. And a few interesting things were said, Robert.
Yeah, like he basically before the interview with Helwani, I'll call him Helwani. He released. No, I'm just gonna say Helwani. It's weird not saying Ariel. He released a statement about the UFC, how he felt really, really disrespected about the UFC's practices, how they were basically dealing with the whole TJ Dillashaw, Ray Borg situation.
Yeah.
Essentially, what happened was DJ was offered Ray Borg, and there was talks of Cody Garbrandt coming down, and basically DJ said, would the Garbrandt fight not be the best fight to make because it's probably the bigger fight? And he said, no, we want to do this fight. He accepted it. They told him he wasn't getting pay-per-view points on the Ray Borg fight. So he accepted it, you know, in the end. And then the TJ Dillashaw fight come up, and they said, no, we want to do this fight. And he said, no, I already accepted a fight with Ray Borg.
Yeah.
And then you told me I'm not even getting pay-per-view points. Why would they accept this fight? He's never made 125. He's not even a champion. He's coming down.
Big thing would be as well. It'd be a record for DJ if he defends his belt.
Yeah,
one
exactly.
More time. And he said if he doesn't make weight, it's not going to be a successful defense.
And it was that whole situation. But he appeared on the MMA Hour, and you'd have to feel for him because it's kind of insane that, you know, arguably, and I think probably by the majority of people, they're saying he's the best fighter in the world. He's probably pound for pound the best mixed martial artist in the world right now for the past probably year or so. And the treatment that he's got by the UFC is, if Demetrious is what he's saying is true, and I have no reason to believe that it's not true, it's pretty disgraceful. They've
threatened to close.
They've threatened to close his division.
Flyweight division. That's... Look, the way I see it, both sides will have a story with this, okay? But we spoke about this. We got Johnny Jitsu to just get on with us there.
Yeah.
And we said, why aren't people interested in Demetrious Johnson? And we said, is it the size thing? And I think Johnny was a bit afraid to say that in case a certain Neil Searle beat the bollocks out of him in the gym later that night. But it's known that you know, it does. They don't do big numbers for whatever reason. Fans just don't seem to flock to it for pay-per-view, whatever reasons, or even the big Fox shows, anything like that. They just don't seem to flow to it. But like DJ is doing, like, he's putting on masterclasses every time he steps into the octagon, and he's trying his best to get this division lit up. Now, if he's signed a contract to fight Ray Borg, and then he gets offered Cody, was it, or TJ?
TJ.
And now he's like, well, no, this doesn't make TJ has never made 25, so it's a big risk if TJ can make 25. Like, in a weird way, TJ it's a great fight for us, the fan, to watch. It's a great fight, but you got to give credit. He's also saying, why should TJ Dillashaw, who's never fought at flyweight, come down, make a mockery out of the division that I've been defending a belt in 10 times and get an automatic title shot? This is disrespectful to the fighters who are currently ranked in the flyweight division. Now, I know a lot of people can turn and say, well, you know, McGregor went up to lightweight, so there is that argument. He actually addressed Conor McGregor as well on the MMA era. But in a way, you got to say, well, fair play to DJ if he's willing to stand up and say, well, no, like, fuck that. Like, Ray Borg has got his shot. Like, he's earned his shot.
Yeah. There's a couple of things as well. On the whole point of selling fights, Demetrious Johnson just doesn't sell as many fights as probably the majority of UFC champions right now. He's probably in the bottom three, and that's just the way it is. But there's a point where you have to say that greatness should be awarded. It shouldn't just be the whole money thing. Like, if the UFC...
DJ Dillashaw is a fighter. The UFC is a promotion. Promotions promote.
Exactly.
Fighters fight.
Yeah.
It is a dream when somebody like Conor McGregor, who is just a promoter's app, Conor McGregor you could give him something that's failing, like is some product that's failing, whatever it is, and he could sell it and it would sell.
Yeah.
That's just, Conor McGregor just has
He's
that
a different kind of guy.
Yeah. But if somebody doesn't have that personality, they shouldn't, or want to be that type of person, they shouldn't have to be. DJ, he has defended his belt 10 fucking times, and he's done it in dominant fashion.
Yeah.
He has tapped out black belts. He has knocked out with, like, guys who are meant to be the better striker. Like, he is the complete mixed martial artist. So if he doesn't want to be, you know, he does all his press meetings.
He does it.
He does all that. So he meets all his requirements.
Yeah.
The promotion's job is to promote.
Exactly. Like
how is threatening we will close your division?
Yeah.
Any incentive for him to say, yeah, well, fuck it, I'll fight TJ then. Because then he's their bitch.
But what's the crazy thing about it, when you actually think about it, the UFC are parading themselves as the biggest, best mixed martial arts organization in the world where the best fighters fight, which is true. But if you're on the same thing, if you're saying that and you're telling the best fighter that you have on your entire roster that you're going to close his division because he won't take a fight, like, what is that? Like, why are you disrespecting the best fighter in the world? Why are you not going out and promoting him, saying this guy is 100% the best fighter in the world?
Yeah.
We're promoting him. Maybe you don't like the way he talks. Maybe you don't like that he's not Conor McGregor. He's not the outspoken guy. But this guy beats everybody. He's the best.
Man, they're bringing out UFC games, whatever. He is the biggest gamer you've ever seen in your fucking life as well. Use that as a point of view.
There's
so many ways you can pinpoint and you can promote DJ without needing them to talk shit about everyone or doing whatever. Like, in fairness, he came out and he spoke about Ronda and he said a few things. Like, he is speaking up. If that's true,
but that's not. You don't need him to do that.
I
think you'd hit the nail on the head though. They're the promoters. Demetrious Johnson, I think every fighter in mixed martial arts, if you want to get to the top, you have to pull your weight in promotion as well. But that's not your goal. Your goal isn't to promote the fight. Your goal is to fight, to put on a performance. If you go in there and you don't put on a performance, that's on you. If the promoter, if an event happens and the event doesn't sell tickets, that's on the promoter. That's not on the fighter. If the promoter didn't adequately promote that fight, promote that event, just like any other thing. If you're a promoter for a nightclub and nobody shows up, that's on the promoter. That's not on the barman who has to serve drinks.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that Demetrious Johnson's the barman, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a different role. Of course, they can help out, and I think they should help out. The fighter should help out promote, but it's not his job.
Devil's advocate. It's not his job. His job is to fight. So is it not his job to not matchmake? Or as a champion, should he?
But I think it's different. I don't think he's
different in this case because
it's not even matchmaking. He accepted a fight on pretty poor terms. Let me just get this. This is a statement that he made, and he put a little summary.
Go ahead.
Basically, the first one was, I agreed to it's crazy. I agreed to their tyrannical demand to fight Ray Borg, and Ray also agreed. So he had a contract.
Signed,
there,
delivered, yeah,
signed, done, and he accepted that on terms he didn't really want.
But that's something as well that the UFC have done before. They send out contracts to get signed and go ahead.
The UFC refused to give me pay-per-view points on any future flyweight belts because they told them that the flyweights don't sell. This is the number one pound for pound mixed martial arts fighter in the world, and you're going out there saying, "Oh no, you don't sell. You might be an amazing fighter, but you're not getting points. You're not going to get paid." Disgusting. I gave the UFC fair conditions to change the fight to TJ Dillashaw if they refused, and they refused. So I think he basically asked for
points.
Future pay-per-view points. They said no, and then. Dana and Sean Shelby told them they have no interest in marketing the lighter weight guys. Again, this is according to TJ,
of course,
DJ. So there could be another story out there. They said they don't, whatever. He said that if TJ doesn't make weight, I can't break the record. He's on the way of, as you said, he's on the way of breaking a huge record. That's
Anderson Silva's record.
Silva. It's an amazing record. Dana White has made the effort to bully me in the media as well as in private. Dana White came out and said that Demetrious Johnson isn't accepting the fight, and if what Demetrious is saying is true, that's crazy. Like Dana White coming out and saying he's not accepting a fight, like the amount of power and the amount of pull that Dana White has to come out and say that's a huge effect on Demetrious Johnson's career, because there's already people out there now saying Demetrious Johnson is afraid to fight TJ Dillashaw, which is crazy, absolutely insane. Dana says that this will be a big pay-per-view fight for me, and they'll promote it properly, and then he'll get pay-per-view points. But they already told him that he's not getting pay-per-view points. So is he getting them? Is he not? And then he basically talking about the UFC's track record of promoting them and not giving them points, and has been terrible. And there's also other things, like Demetrious Johnson has been the utmost professional. He's been the company guy. If you remember, you brought it up there a minute ago. You brought up the whole point of Demetrious being a huge gamer. If you remember, a couple of years ago, Demetrious was sponsored by Xbox. He had Xbox all over his shorts, all over his t-shirt. That's a huge sponsorship for Demetrious. Imagine if he had that now. He's on Twitch. He wasn't on Twitch back then. And what happened when Reebok deal came in? Demetrious Johnson said, it's not that bad. I'm upset that the Xbox deal is gone. But, the UFC are making, making the moves. I wish I could have Xbox, can't have it. Whatever. Being the company guy, he could have easily come out and said, I have a huge deal here and it's gone now. But he didn't. It's insane.
It is, and if the thing that the UFC have to be careful about is, and it's weird, right? Because you used to hear the rumblings, but they weren't as public as they are now, right?
Yeah.
But the UFC, if they're treating their champion, who is 10-time champion, like this,
madness.
What are they doing to the lower guys?
Yeah.
Like, we had, for example, Jason Knight on not too long ago.
Yeah.
He was saying he wants to get promoted, he wants to do big things. How are they treating him? How are these now? I'm just thinking of names off the top of my head. Guys that are only starting the journey and coming up the ladder. Like, again, because we were there going, geez, they have to get behind Knight. Like, because fuck me, this guy is a real fan favourite, real fighter's fighter. So if they're treating, DJ like this, you're not surprised to hear that the likes of Rory McDonald go to Bellator.
That's insane.
Because at the same time, I think it could be a bit of a when they go to Bellator, but every fighter talks about how well they're treated at Bellator. Like, we've spoke with numerous Bellator fighters now at this stage,
and even to the lower level.
Yeah, they all talk so highly of how they're treated in Bellator. So, like, the UFC, you're only as strong as your employee. It's like any company. You take any company in the world, be it like Google, whatever, any company in the world, you're only as strong as the people that work for you.
Yeah.
And if the UFC keep pissing off, like you use the nightclub analogy, if you have like the best cocktail makers and barmen, bar women, bartenders in the scene, wherever you are, and you treat them like shit, and they all start going down to the nightclub down the road, all of a sudden the nightclub down the road is the
looking
place
cool.
to be
It's
because
a
they've
cool
got
place
all
to
the
watch,
cool
yeah.
kids and all the good best people working there.
Yeah.
So you're only as strong as the people that make your business strong.
And I think it's important to know, we always say it, Bellator are miles away from the UFC.
Crazy behind.
So we're not saying that they're going to next week or in 2 weeks or even a year or even 5 years. They probably will never make it to the UFC's level. The UFC is just a different level. But if you're doing that, as you said, Noel, if you're doing that, if you're letting the likes of a Rory MacDonald, who is one of the best welterweights in the world, if you're pissing off Demetrious Johnson, threatening to close his division,
That's insane. When I read that part, I'm like, holy shit, like.
that is just insane. And why would Demetrius say that if it didn't happen? Like that, you can't, like, if you're gonna
And let's be honest, like the UFC at the minute, realistically, it's struggling for a little bit of star power at the minute.
it is. And Demetrious Johnson probably isn't that thing, but you're the promoter. Try and make him a star.
Yeah, but you know, the thing is, right, is that if you gave him the proper push, because I genuinely, I don't think I've ever met like a proper fight fan who's ever went, fucking Demetrious Johnson. I'm not watching Demetrious Johnson. Sure, what would I want to watch a man do some amazingly skilled things at the highest level against somebody who is at his equally a high level of world classness? Why would I want to see that man dominate that other man and do amazing things? Oh,
Said nobody ever.
Yeah, said nobody ever. Like, so get behind him, promote him, and like, hopefully to resolve it, because it's sort of getting nasty.
It is. It's getting.
It's
not good either.
Yeah,
it's not good either, because
like,
we don't want to see that.
Like Demetrius, what to address the close your division? He went, close the fucking division.
Yeah.
I'll go elsewhere.
I think as well, this is a company that sold for, how much was it? 4 point something billion
or something. Yeah.
This isn't a company who's flying under the radar anymore. This is,
Yeah.
people are watching this, and if they're watching and people are saying, this guy here is the best fighter in the world, and he's coming out and he's saying the UFC are bullying me, they're telling me that they're gonna close my division. How does that look? How does that look like to the NFL or the NHL? And when they turn around to, the NFL turn around to Tom Brady and said, whatever, you're shit, like,
Yeah.
you know.
I'm closing them quarterbacks.
Closing down the
Shit
quarterbacks.
analogy, Rob.
Yeah.
You're no John fucking
Which,
Anik.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they mistreated somebody, obviously it's different because it's a team sport. But if somebody mistreated somebody like that, and then another thing as well, which
Think
is
about your job, any job you work in. If your boss basically, you work wherever, and they go, well, I'm going to close your department down if you don't work Saturdays.
exactly, yeah.
You'd be like, fuck off, I'm not working Saturdays.
There's also an insane one that we don't really talk about that much, and I think we take it for granted in mixed martial arts, because it happens quite a lot, and it goes back to something you spoke about with Clan Wars, was that they said to him that he can accept a TJ Dillashaw fight, and then Demetrius said, oh, what happens if he doesn't make weight? And they said, oh, we'll have Ray Borg as a backup.
As a backup, that's bullshit.
That is insane.
Yeah.
This is a world-class fighter going in to train for another world-class fighter. That's amateur hour. Imagine if when Floyd Mayweather was negotiating with Top Rank with Bob Arum to have the Manny Pacquiao fight, and Bob Arum said, oh, well, what happens if Pacquiao doesn't show up? Marquez. We'll have Marquez as a backup, and if he falls out on weigh-in day,
but you know what the point about that is as well, right? Is Ray Borg will be scheduled to fight somebody else.
Yeah,
so Ray Borg will get the little push.
Yeah,
but Borg's poor opponent is looking. See you later, mate.
Scoggins or something gets fucked off.
Nice one, mate. See you later. Yeah,
it's insane.
So now it's fucked up. It's amateur hour, and the UFC look like shit from it.
They do, and it's just it's almost constant now with the UFC. Like, it's constant with all these. Like, it's different when somebody at the lower level comes out, when you have your champions who is like the best fighter in the world coming out saying that you're bullying them.
Look, I'll be honest with you now. At this point, right, we've spoke about it and obviously Fight Talk, so I'd say the UFC are going to feel the pressure now.
Yeah, like if Demetrious Johnson gets a new contract, gets the fight he wants, gets loads of money.
Look, DJ, listen.
Thanks.
Apologies we couldn't fit you in on the show today. He was at us, but look, listen.
You had to. We gave Ariel and we said, Ariel, you can take it.
Yeah, Ariel, you have it on the sister podcast.
Yeah.
But no, it's bullshit, and in all seriousness, it needs to be resolved. Treat a champion, like your champion should be on a pedestal. Especially the champion who's defended his belt so many times and done great things for. He's basically in a way, you take Demetrious Johnson out of that division, and the division. It'll still be good, but it doesn't have that shining light. He is, in a way, he's the John Jones that is the light heavyweight division. He's
the John Jones who, at every turn so far in his career, apart from now, said the UFC is great. He went with everything, the sponsorship thing, didn't talk out,
And
went
now
with
they're
it.
screwing him, yeah. But what I love about Demetrious Johnson, and it's similar to what John Jones does. Oh, you're a jiu-jitsu guy. All right, so I'll tap you out. So
Yeah.
Oh, you're a Muay Thai guy. Gonna finish you with knees in the clinch. And I love that.
And he finishes people.
Yeah.
He's not a guy who brings them to the decision. He finishes people.
Yep. He's like me with me dinner. I always fucking finish it.
Yeah.
So let's move it on. And let's get welcome back to the show.
Yeah.
The new father.
Oh yeah.
Mr. Darren Russell's going to join us even to break down a UFC Fight Night 110 that's going down this weekend. Is it a Saturday or Sunday card?
I don't know.
Should
have been more
good
prepared for
information.
this.
It's going on in Auckland in New Zealand.
Jesus.
So it's 3 a.m. British Standard Time. So
On
that
what day?
is Sunday. So that's Saturday
Saturday
night.
show.
So yeah, it's a perfect show
Regular.
on timing for us. So it's Derrick Lewis, Mark Hunt, joined by ODDsBible, Darren Russell. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk, and this is your UFC Fight Night breakdown that goes down in Auckland, New Zealand this weekend, and it is Derrick Lewis taking on Mark Hunt. We're joined, as you can see if you're watching us on YouTube, by Darren Russell. If you're listening, you now know we're joined by Darren Russell. So Darren, thanks again for taking the time to come on to us here at obviously Fight Talk.
No problem. It's good to be back on yet again.
Let's dive straight into it.
Dive
The main
straight
card. I'm going to absolutely murder this, but it's Alexander Volkanovski,
Perfect.
Mizuto Hirota.
Yeah.
We're accepting it. We're going with it. So it's an Australian versus a Japanese. So the two of them will. Australian doesn't have that far to go. Japanese not that far to go either. Geography might be off. So talk to us about the opening of the main card there, Darren.
I think it's an interesting one with Volkanovski. He's fought as heavy as welterweight.
Yeah.
He's fought a lightweight previously on his UFC debut, and he's got a big reach advantage. I think Hirota's he's been around a lot longer and he's a lot more experienced. He's fought Pat Healy, Cole Miller, but I think Volkanovski just seems to, from the look of it, have the knockout power. But has he competed at this level before?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I like Volkanovski. His debut was pretty impressive. He's a very, very good athlete. He kind of reminds me of a Chad Mendes type, but probably not as good of a wrestler, but he has some really good grappling for an Australian. Like his wrestling game, if you look at the way he sets up his takedowns, he always sets them up with a strike, and he has a really quick shot. And he has a lot of power. Like if you watch his fight, I wrote it down because it's one that I should definitely go back and watch, is his fight with Jamie Mullarkey before he got to the UFC. I think it was the second one before his UFC debut. Beautiful finish. It was similar to Connor's finish over the one that got into the UFC.
Ivan Bushinger.
Similar to that where he slipped and
Put me on the spot there.
It was similar to that where he just slipped and countered over the top. Beautiful. But I really like him. I think he's a decent prospect. Hirota, he's pretty good. He's kind of a scrappy guy. He's probably most famously known for that Shinya Aoki submission where he got his arm broken and Shinya gave him the finger. But he's a decent fighter, not great. Beat Cole Miller in his last fight, but I'm not sure where Cole Miller is really in his career. He's kind of, on a bit of a slump, and he's talking about retirement. But I'm gonna go with Volkanovski here. I think he's gonna win. I think he's gonna finish him as well. He has a lot of power. Again, as I said, very good athlete. Very well rounded, good takedowns. I think he's going to be able to keep it on the feet, and if he wants to take it to the ground, he can take it there. I'm going to go with Volkanovski to win by second round TKO.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is not the hashtag Robert Allen win
I know.
decision, we know. Two of you sort of broke it down pretty well there. Volkanovski, he is a finisher. To the level, he's only had one UFC fight, so what was the level he was like fighting in the Wollongong Wars?
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's called, the Wollongong Wars. But yeah, he's on an 11-fight win streak. That's not to be played with. He's trained out of Tiger Muay Thai as well, and MMA, I should say, Tiger Muay Thai and MMA. So I know a couple of guys have gone over there to train there, so I'm already rooting for him. But yeah, it looks like this is what they tend to do when they go. I know he's Australian, but it's in Auckland, but they're putting the local guys on the same way there'll be a lot of Brits when it's on in the UK. But yeah, I'll go with Volkanovski here with the finish, with the KO, TKO as well. I wouldn't imagine there'd be great odds on it if you could find them. tweet Paddy Power at askpaddypower.com or on Twitter at askpaddypower. Is it, Rob? You should know that handle.
I think so, yeah.
But what about yourself, Darren? What do you think of this one?
Yeah, it's got to be Volkanovski. But you'd say he'd finish it, but Hirota is notorious for sort of taking fights to a decision. I think it was 8 of his last 10. But Volkanovski, there's not much value in betting on him. He's nearly 3-1 on to win, so it's not going to be great odds. The only way you might get a bit of value is if you can call a round, I suppose.
Yeah. Your next bout of the evening then is Tim Elliott against Ben Nguyen. Ben 10.
Ben 10.
This is an interesting fight. I think this is a little bit of a coin flip.
I love the way we have two guys who have like huge YouTube fame. We have Hirota, who got the submission, the arm break, and then we have Ben Nguyen, who knocked out your man with all the tattoos after he was squaring up to him at the weigh-ins.
Yeah,
I like that.
Good, Rob. I'm delighted you like that. But so what do you think of the fight, though?
Yeah, no, I like it. Tim Elliott, when he came back to the UFC after that tough run, he gave Demetrious Johnson one of the best fights of his career. The thing I like about Tim Elliott is, although his striking isn't the most technical, he kind of loops his punches. He throws these weird hooks. Kind of, not, I wouldn't compare him to Dominic Cruz, but in a similar way that Dominic Cruz throws these strange techniques, the way he throws his hooks, similar to Tim Elliott, kind of weird striker, but very tough to beat, very tough to figure out. It took a while for Demetrious Johnson to figure him out, and Demetrious Johnson, as we spoke a few minutes ago, is probably the best fighter in the world at the moment. Ben Nguyen, very technical, but I feel that with Elliott, I don't know if he's going to be able to figure him out in 3 rounds, and Elliott's very difficult to finish. But I love this fight. I think this is probably the best fight in the card, to be honest.
I'm going to go with, you know that thing called MMA mats?
Oh, yeah.
That means nothing.
That always works.
So Ben 10 got beaten by Louis Smoker.
Here he goes.
And Tim Elliott beat Louis Smoker. So that alone in itself would go with that MMA mats. As Neil the Siri, when I had him on, going, yeah, that's fucking thick. I just think, I think Elliott is he's an orthodox, and like when he came through tough. When he was put in with Demetrious Johnson, everybody and anybody, including myself, gave him no chance against DJ. And he put it to him. He gave him, as you said, probably his hardest fight as a champion. And I just think he's going to have too much for Ben 10 here. With the whole Smoker thing, it was interesting to see where Elliott was after Demetrious Johnson. Did he just have a good night that night? Yeah. But he had a great performance against Louis Smoker, and I just think he'll roll on from that, and he'll have too much for Ben 10. Will he finish him? Maybe late in the 3rd round.
Maybe.
But yeah, I'm definitely going to go with Tim Elliott in that one.
I think Elliott was so competitive on the ground against Smoker, and some of the transitions and the way they were rolling around the mat was superb. But Ben 10, it's a bit easier to pronounce than his surname.
Yeah.
I
should know from poker days. Nguyen. Watching a lot of poker players are called Nguyen. Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, and he's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, so you'd expect Elliott to be in a bit more trouble if it was to go to the ground. But it sort of goes back to the news this week of, is there a future for that division?
Yeah.
Really, and it's sad to see what Demetrious Johnson's saying. Obviously, that's only one side of the story, but...
Oh, we just ranted about that.
Yeah, we just had a rant.
Oh, we ranted. Yeah. Tim Elliott decision for me.
Tim Elliott decision.
Yeah, I'll second that.
These are all watching there. Well, as much as like... I don't think it's going to be a boring fight. I just when you say decision, and everyone goes,
no, I think it's going to be quite exciting. Especially if it does go to the ground, because Tim Elliott is very tricky on the ground, like really, really tricky. He has these strange transitions. It's very tricky. So I think it could be a really good fight. It's my fight that I'm definitely looking forward to mostly on the fight, even apart from the main event, to be honest. Yep.
Next up, again, more names for Noel. We got Ion Cutelaba against Enrique da Silva. Frankenstein against the Hulk. Let's do it that way. Nicknames are easier.
Yeah.
The Hulk against Frankenstein. So it's basically, we got Republic of Moldova, so my neighbours will be cheering for the Hulk against Brazil.
Yeah, I had the Frankenstein versus Hulk thing written down as well, but you stole that off me. I think it was the Henrique de Silva sort of situation when he was fighting Paul Craig was he was deemed to be one of the next big things at light heavyweight. He was unbeaten, deemed to be a big prospect and to sort of do damage on that division, and lost to Paul Craig, then lost again, and now it's like, now there's a load of doubt around him over can he beat Kutalaba, and I think it's the Greco-Roman wrestling style of Kutalaba, and he's only 23 years old. And I think when you look at De Silva's, he couldn't stop the takedown against Paul Craig, he struggled. He's doing 25% takedown defense, and I think that doesn't bode well for him at all in this fight.
No, I completely agree as well. If you look at that fight, he completely gassed, and gassed pretty quickly. And then in the Jordan Johnson fight, he didn't look very good. He couldn't stop the takedowns, didn't really have much grappling. I think if he's going to win it, he's going to have to win it early. You kind of see he does have quite a few finishes as far as I remember, but I do think it's going to be another kind of grappling fight where he probably be either subbed or be just dominated on the ground. He doesn't seem to have that good of a ground game at all, and his gas tank doesn't really seem to be there. It's unfortunate because, as you said, he was looked at as a guy who maybe would look good in that division that's kind of lacking at the moment. But yeah, I don't know. It just based on them last two fights, and Kutalaba is a pretty good wrestler, as you said, so I'm going to go with Kutalaba in this one. I think he wins by grappling.
By grappling.
By grappling, yeah.
Winner by grappling.
Yeah. That's going to be the call.
Yeah, what you're saying as well, though, Darren, is spot on. There was a lot of hype, and it's amazing how much hype disappears so quickly from a lot of fighters. And the doubt of... the biggest one, obviously, is the Ronda Rousey train, is that everybody thinks she's so unbeatable, and then she gets beaten. She's like, oh, she's terrible striking, isn't she? So, you know, these things just happen with it, and so doubt will creep in. That could be a motivation for De Silva. Also, the fact that you'd imagine if he gets beaten here, that's it.
Yeah, it could be.
It's back to regional shows or other organisations. But you're looking at the performances of Kutalaba. He's going to be looking for the takedown realistically. Can it be stopped? It didn't look like it could be stopped. So it's the whole thing of can he stop the takedown? We always say, is it that simple, MMA? Yeah. And I'm going to say, yes, he is going to stop it. And I'm going to say a hungry De Silva's going to get the victory here. And he'll finish it with, he'll time takedowns. And I think that's a big thing, that there's the stopping the takedown and then punishing the takedown. That even if he gets the takedown, punishing him with shots on the way down or landing a shot on the way in. It's something that I've seen done very well at the weekend here in Ireland at a regional Clan Wars show. Was there a beautiful uppercut timed as someone was coming in for the takedown, and that's something that can be done. Will you have learned from it? It's the blueprint is there. So as when Robin Black is on with us, she's not dropping names, but when Robin Black is on with us, we say if we know that Kutalaba is going to do that, De Silva's camp is also going to know. So is that something they have been working on? Of course it is. So I say let's get the hype train back on the tracks, and I'm going to go with De Silva here, and I'm going to go with decision with it, maybe a finish, but I think he's going to learn from the takedown. If he can't stop the takedown, he's going to be in for 3 rounds of just getting beaten up. But fuck it, I believe in dreams.
I think Kutalaba, I think he'll utilise that wrestling and a bit of a ground and pound, and I think maybe in the second round, I think Frankenstein might just about get out of the first round, because I think the train is derailed, as they say.
I believe in dreams, and you believe in pissing on my fucking dreams. This is your next bout is Dan Hooker taking on Ross Pearson. It's high up the card here. Ross Pearson will be the well-known guy, if you know what I mean, for the audience, obviously over there as well. The Brit is well-known. How do we see this one going for the real deal, Ross Pearson, or is it going to be Dan the Hangman Hooker's night?
I think it's an interesting fight for Ross. All those rumours about that he'd been caught, and you'd imagine now with a loss he might just be on the verge of that, but this traditionally is kind of the fight he would win. It's not at as high of a level as his previous fights have been. Will Brooks, which we spoke about him enough times before, Stevie Ray, Jorge Masvidal. They're very high level guys, and I think Dan Hooker is a lot more of a sort of realistic opponent for him at this stage of his career. I'm glad to see he's actually moved back down to lightweight, because welterweight was just not for Ross Pearson whatsoever.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I like that Hooker's moving up to lightweight. I believe his last fight would have been at featherweight, and he cuts a serious amount of weight to make that. And I think it's impressive that Hooker lasting in there with Jason Knight, because Jason Knight's a beast, and you look pretty good. I think what I'm looking at in this fight is Ross Pearson over his last couple of fights has found it very, very difficult to kind of let his hands go and get into range. And if you look at the reach advantage that Hooker's going to have in this fight, I believe it's like 6 or 7 inches of reach advantage. If he can play at range, I think Hooker has a really good chance of winning this, just to frustrate Ross Pearson and not allow him to get going. Of course, Pearson, if you look at back in his kind of, I'm not going to say younger days because he's not an old man, but if you look at last couple of fights, maybe 4 or 5 fights ago, he was really quick with his hooks. But in his most recent fights against Stevie Ray, who could play at range, he just couldn't really let go and he couldn't really land. And that's why I'm kind of leaning a little bit towards Hooker, even though I do agree this is probably the fight that usually he would win. Hooker's not the best fighter in the world. He's not at the level that Ross Pearson was a few years ago, but I think Ross Pearson's kind of on the decline at the moment. I think unfortunately he's just not going to be able to land on Hooker. I think Hooker's going to be able to keep him at the end of his teeth kick, keep him at the end of his jab, and maybe frustrate him with some grappling exchanges. But it's an interesting one. I think it's a tough one for Ross, because if he does lose it, it's not a good look, especially considering he was just in there with Jorge Masvidal and then losing to Dan Hooker.
Yeah. I think the big thing here, you've alluded to as well, is reach. Reach is going to be a big thing here. Pearson does a lot of his good work in close range as well, utilising his Muay Thai. And
he gets frustrated when he can't get in there as well.
And it's like really there is a big, I'm just looking at it here on UFC.com, there's 6 inch reach. Yeah. And there's even a long leg reach. It's 3 inches like for the likes of Teeps to keep him away. Yeah. Pearson is a veteran, but he's on a 3-fight slump at the minute. He is fighting the higher caliber guy.
Much higher.
I do agree with what you were saying as well, Darren, that this is a more realistic fight that Pearson could win. For me, this one more, I think you know what you're going to get with Ross Pearson in a way. I think against, a lot of people might be a little trigger shy when they're fighting Masvidal. Do you know what I mean? Because you know what's coming if you don't hit. So I think Ross Pearson here, I think you know what you're going to get with Ross Pearson. But I think the factor of this is, what are we going to get with Dan Hooker in this fight? Yeah. What way is he going to turn up? Is he going to utilise the reach, or is he going to want to get, because this is, let's be honest, this will be a big name for Hooker, Pearson, to take out Pearson. If you can frustrate him and keep him out of range and move, I think you'll get it done. But I have a sneaky feeling that Pearson might get in distance and finish this with some hooks or in the clinch, with some Muay Thai style plum and knee. So I'm going to pick Ross Pearson in this one, because I'm not it's a fight he should be winning.
Yeah.
And if it's a fight he doesn't win, I think it's time to, maybe hang the gloves up and look more into coaching or even broadcast, something along that lines. But realistically, this is a defining fight for Ross Pearson. If he doesn't win
it's a crossroads fight.
It really is.
It'll tell you a lot about what's going to happen with Ross Pearson.
Because he can look good. Pearson can look good. Like Stevie Ray was a split decision win, and Stevie
shouldn't have been.
Yeah, I know. But Stevie Ray is going up. So it is a crossroad fight for Pearson, but it is a fight that he is very capable of winning. And realistically, if this fight was taking place 2.5, 3 years ago, you're picking Pearson hands down. So for me, I know what you're going to get with Ross Pearson, but what are you going to get from Dan Hooker? But I am going to go with Ross Pearson in this one.
Yeah, I think it's a case of, like you say, if Ross Pearson can't get up for this fight and can't go out there and try to even stop him, like you said, he needs to get inside the range and use those hooks and go back to the old Ross Pearson. And if he can't get up to this fight, and then is his future really in the UFC? Obviously, he won't be short of suitors if he does leave the UFC.
That's true.
He's quite a big name, especially in the UK. And but his last 7 fights going to a decision. I think he needs to realise he needs to take out the judges' hands, which has been a problem over the last couple of years for him.
Yeah, and especially
but I do think he'll beat him.
Yeah, I think
somehow, some way, he'll beat him.
I think as well, you have to look at the hometown advantage as well. Ross has to make that big trip over to Australia, whereas Hooker is, probably there, I'm assuming.
Yep. Your co-main event. Am I a co-main event?
Yeah.
I am indeed. Your co-main event is Derek Brunson taking on Daniel Kelly. This one I think is an interesting fight, because you go on about Brunson all the time. And
do I?
Yeah, the odd time you do. Yeah, I've heard you praising him a good bit. But I was really impressed. I know it was a different Rashad Evans when he fought him.
Yeah.
But Kelly really impressed me. Like,
yeah, big time.
Yeah, I was like, in a way it was real. Yeah, Rashad Evans, the big name. You know, he's fighting. You know, Kelly, how will Kelly fare against? But Kelly really stood out for me in that fight more so than, you know, a lot of people criticise Rashad, but I thought Kelly stood out more.
Yeah, and if you look at Kelly's resume now, Antonio Carlos Jr., shoe-face, who just had an excellent performance there on the last card. Chris Camozzi, who was, you know, he's not a terrible fighter. He's good. He's pretty good. And then Rashad Evans. You know, that's some good wins. And if you look at that fight, what surprised me most was his striking. And even he said after the fight in his post-fight interview, he was like, what do you think of my striking? It's coming a long way. And he's really crafty. He's really, really crafty. He has those weird trips. He kind of...
It's a step-in trip.
He punches and trips at the same time. Yeah. It's a weird judo technique.
He looks like a drunken old man who just happened to say, look, fuck it, I'll fight, come on.
Yeah, but the only thing is, if you look at him, he always has his knees wrapped with like I don't know how many athletic tape, athletic tape, about 12 rolls of athletic tape. But it is an interesting fight. It's difficult to pick though.
This is another one. If you look at it, like Brunson, there was a lot. He was building a lot of momentum with wins over Herman, Alvey, Uriah Hall was a big one as well, and then he ran into Robert Whittaker, and we all know what Whittaker's doing to people. Yeah. And then just a fella Anderson Silva, I think his name was. I'm not too sure. I'll have to Google that guy. But so, you know, Brunson is you know, he got to a certain level, so he's coming back down. But Dan Kelly, like, for me, I'm going to be picking Dan Kelly in this one because I just think, you know, he can take a shot, and he's just unorthodox, and he's not. How do you train to fight that man? Do you know what I mean? How do you plan it? You know, like he's like a monkey with tape around his knees. It's weird, like, you know. It's a tough. But you know the way they say, how do you train for Machida or Wonder Boy? How do you get somebody? How do you get somebody in to replicate Daniel Kelly?
I don't know.
So I'm going with Daniel Kelly, and it won't be pretty. It's not going to be like, geez, that was a technical masterclass, but it won't be pretty. But it'll be exciting, and I honestly think like Brunson will hurt him.
Yeah, probably.
He'll land big shots and he'll hurt him, but I just think Dan Kelly's he'll have a Foster's before he comes out, and he'll have a fight, and it'll be great. And I honestly this is a weird breakdown now, but it's just he is unorthodox, and I think he's hard. He's that guy that nobody wants to fight because, like, no one's going to turn around if Derek Brunson beats Daniel and go,
you beat that.
Beat Dan Kelly, what a win. So in a way, he's a weird one for anyone to fight. He's sort of a guy that you want to avoid because, like, Rashad Evans, like, everyone just thought Rashad Evans would beat him. Yeah. But, you know, it's a weird one to break down, and he's a weird one to fight. So I'm going to go with the crazy, unpredictable Daniel Kelly with them weird step-in punch trips. And he'll control him on the ground, and he'll take him down and slow him down and take him down and grind out the victory. I'm going to go with Dan Kelly.
I think it's interesting to see the 7 inches reach, going back to, like you said before, you got to have a look at the reach, and 7 inches for Brunson is pretty huge. And I think the Brunson previous to the Whittaker and the Silva fights, if we were talking about this fight after when he beat Uriah Hall, we'd be picking Derek Brunson all day, in my opinion. But I can see him doing the job again, and I think he might finish him early on, Derek Brunson, personally. There's a lot of varied opinions on this card, but I think he's keen to stop the takedown, but I'm not sure whether Brunson will be too keen to actually go to the ground with him, considering he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So I think it's just key to use his reach, to be fair, Brunson, and he's got that knockout power in him. We've seen it before, and I think he might get it done in the first, which might be pretty good odds at the bookies.
Yeah. This is like one of the most difficult fights on the card, I think, to pick, because Daniel Kelly, I don't think I've ever picked him to win a fight in the UFC.
And you shouldn't.
And I shouldn't.
No,
like,
because...
Not that he's a bad fighter, but he's old. He has tape around his knees. But I don't know, there's just something telling me to pick Dan Kelly. It's Brunson in his striking. He has a ton of reach, as you said, but he doesn't use that. He's very, very sloppy. He'll come forward. He'll throw crazy shots. Chin up in the air. Off balance, I think that's important. If you're off balance against a judoka, what's going to happen? I just think that he's going to be coming in, he's going to be striking, he might land on Kelly, but I just think Kelly's going to be able to manipulate his off balance. He's going to be able to trip him, he's going to get him to the ground. I just think he's going to grind one out. I think he's going to cry one out. And if I'm completely wrong, probably I think you're probably most likely to get this. But yeah, I'm going to go Dan Kelly. There's just something telling me Dan Kelly back in Australia is going to get the win.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I'm all on board.
I just think he's
Dan Kelly train.
So unorthodox.
Yeah.
That there's no, and like Brunson,
But
like
he's
I said,
unorthodox too.
Yeah, he is, and I think he'll get hit. But like Dan Kelly, he you know the way I don't know. Brunson's chin up drives me nuts.
Yeah.
But I just think Dan Kelly is so unpredictable, and he really does just look like somebody's dad turned up. But I think somebody's dad is going to get it done, and it's like I won't be shocked. Like I agree with you as well, Darren. This could be over in the first minute or two, but let's roll the dice of madness, and that madness is Dan Kelly, and I can't wait. I think it's a crack. I think it's an absolute crack.
It's weird with Dan Kelly because we talk about him like he's new onto the scene. He's 39.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
And it's weird. We mentioned the fight being in Australia quite a lot when it's actually in New Zealand. But
New Zealand, Lord.
We're not doing too bad.
I've said New Zealand. You said Australia incorrectly. I've said New Zealand.
Same country, no?
No. Oh. Yeah, that's like Wales and Scotland, isn't it? In England, it's all in one country. Your main event is the big boys. We've got Derrick Lewis taking on Mark Hunt. This is, well, a lot of people thought, this is going to be a huge striker versus striker. I bring it to Derrick Lewis and Ryan Nelson. Everyone thought that was going to be the big thing. I think the two of these are going to be willing and waiting to stand in front of one another and absolutely throw leather.
I'm looking forward to this fight, really. I think it's quite a big test for Derrick Lewis at this stage. But I sort of can question Mark Hunt's. Does he really want to be in the UFC anymore?
Yeah.
As such,
Good point.
He's got a big chip on his shoulder over the Brock Lesnar situation, and he's suing him. So I think he's kind of just fighting out his contract. And realistically, I think this is such a tough fight for him. And again, huge reach advantage for Derrick Lewis, who probably alongside Francis Ngannou, who's the most dangerous guy in the heavyweight division right now.
Yeah, like you do have to bring Mark Hunt's mindset into this because
he's only given out this week about Alistair Overeem being allowed.
Look at all the media he's done leading up to this fight. I can't remember him mentioning Derrick Lewis at all. It's all Alistair Overeem. It's all Brock Lesnar. It's all the UFC. It's all this, and rightfully so, probably because there was some shady stuff going on with the Brock Lesnar situation. But you don't want to underestimate the Black Beast.
No, this is for me. It's good to see where Lewis is in this, because a lot of people, the heavyweight division all of a sudden has become, the big hitters like with Ngannou and like Stipe as the champion. It's a great. The division is shaping up lovely, and I just think the mindset with Hunt, with everything he's talking about, is one thing. But I honestly think when the gates get closed, Mark Hunt just loves it. Yeah, a fight.
Yeah, he does.
And he enjoys a fight. So the one thing that a lot of people were really excited when Ryan Nelson, I brought this one up just for the reason, when they were matched the fight, everyone thought this was going to be bombs thrown at one another. It didn't live out that way. It was Ryan Nelson sort of going for the takedown, didn't want to stand, and anytime Lewis landed, you could see Nelson was going for the takedown. So this one, I think he is going to find a willing dance partner in Mark Hunt.
Yeah, of course.
And this is a weird one because both guys can land and both guys can finish. But the only thing I'd say is Hunt is starting to get finished a lot. Like his chin is still remarkable. Like to get hit by any of these absolute monsters is remarkable. But he has been getting beaten by KO, TKO. Of late,
and that last one was pretty bad, so you have to wonder what he's going to look like after that one. He was out cold, he got kneed, and he just dropped straight in his face. But there's definitely openings there for Hunt. Like you talk about the reach advantage, and it's certainly there. But look at the Stephen Struve fight, and that wasn't a problem for Mark Hunt. Mark Hunt could close distance and get in there. And I think if you look at this fight and you're looking in the striking range, look at Derrick Lewis, the way he holds his hands. He doesn't hold his hands up. His hands are almost down here. They're a couple of inches from his chin. So there's definitely openings there. One thing, though, that Derrick Lewis does well is, for a big man, and he's a huge man, he's very athletic and he can get out of positions. You seen in the Travis Brown fight, when Brown come in, it was right at the start of the fight, and he threw that kind of flying knee and landed to the chest, and Lewis basically scrambled out of there. He was avoiding all the shots and then landed. He's very good at doing that, and Mark Hunt will often land that big uppercut that he lands, and again, that's a weapon that if he can get close, that will be huge, because Derrick Lewis is not really that defensively sound in that position. And if he lands that and he gets Lewis up against the cage, you could have problems. But I just think Lewis is for his size, he's very, very athletic, and I think he's going to be more athletic than Mark Hunt in this one. And if he gets on top, oof.
Two numbers as well, I think that count a great deal as well, is 43 and 32.
Yeah.
You know,
that's 11 years.
That is. Carol Vorderman is on the show.
Just in case you didn't know.
But I do think age can come into it as well. It's something that we speak about. You know, as you get older, the next time you get in the cage, you could look completely different. These things tend to happen quickly when you're at a certain age. The knockout against Overeem as well could come into play. But look, this, like, for me, this honestly is a coin flip. As much you have to look at Derrick Lewis as the favourite. For me, Derrick Lewis is the favourite. But if you're watching this on Saturday night / Sunday morning, are you surprised if Mark Hunt knocked Derrick Lewis out?
No, absolutely not.
And that's where the thing is here. So if anyone goes, oh, I can't believe he's all picked Lewis and it was Hunt, you know, this is the heavyweight fighting. Yeah. This can happen, and these two guys literally can knock out anyone on that roster if they land clean. So that's what makes heavyweight fighting so intriguing, is that in 4-ounce gloves, the two of these guys are going to come in at 265, and Hunt will probably be a lot heavier than that come in fight night probably as well. So two of them are going to be big boys swinging little leather mitts at one another. So don't be surprised if either of them is put asleep. But do we see it going that way, or do we see a 3-round fight? 5 round? Oh, fucking jeez, no, we don't. Do we see a 5-round fight?
Well, I can't imagine it going down that route, and I think if it does, it's not going to bode well for Mark Hunt.
Yeah.
Come round 4 or 5, I think he's just going to be absolutely exhausted, because Lewis is kind of relentless, and it doesn't get hit a lot, to be fair, for a sort of man his size, and in that division he doesn't tend to get hit a lot. I think I was looking at the stats before, and I think he averages getting hit like once per minute, which is kind of crazy.
That's crazy.
I do think his fight with Roy Nelson helped that, because I think Roy Nelson hit him 7 times in 3 rounds. But I think the thing with Derrick Lewis is he's got the knockout power, but has he really been sort of hit bang on the chin by anyone with the power behind him like Mark Hunt, and the sheer sort of size behind him? Like you said, he has to cut to get to heavyweight, which is kind of nuts. But I think Derrick Lewis in round 1, 2 or 3 is 6-5 at paddy power. I think that's kind of good odds to me.
Yeah, that's not bad. The knockout is there. Like Sean Jordan knocked him out. So it definitely can happen. Matt Mitrione knocked him out. So it's definitely there. He just, as you said, he hasn't been hit quite a bit in his last couple of fights. I do think though, if the Black Beast can get on top, and Mark Hunt, he's tough to take down sometimes, but you're saying like if his head isn't there and he's not trying to defend the takedowns as much as you'd hope he'd be. Derrick Lewis, he has some nice trips up against the cage, and if he gets on top, as you said, he's absolutely relentless. And he passes guard as well, which is interesting. He doesn't pass it with straight jiu-jitsu. I doubt I don't even know he's belted in jiu-jitsu, but he passes with his punches, he drops bombs, and then, like, you often see Derrick Lewis in mount against good grapplers. And you shouldn't, but it's because he just lands huge shots and then finds himself in position and passes. Something that Brendan Dorman brought up as well. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Derrick Lewis to win. I'm gonna take your bet. I'm gonna put some money on that.
What round though? You're just
2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go probably Lewis in the 3rd. I reckon. I think Hunt will come out kind of swinging, because I think that's the best way to win the fight. And
yeah, definitely.
He could easily gas halfway through the 2nd round. 43-year-old, 280-pound man.
Yeah,
he's not going to last in there long against. We see Derrick Lewis as this young sort of prodigy, and he's like 32.
Yeah.
It's crazy, but I think Lewis will finish him maybe 2nd or 3rd. But I think that round 1, 2 or 3 bet is crazy odds. Over at paddy power.
While both fighters are fresh, this is where this is going to be an amazing fight. And I honestly think anyone, if whoever lands a shot can do it. But I'm going to go with Lewis with the win, and I'm going to do similar to what you were saying there. I'm going to see a tired Mark Hunt get finished. I can see Lewis working. I do love Mark. I can see Lewis trying to work the body a little bit to take the wind out of Hunt to add to it as well. So I'm going to go with Derrick Lewis, and I'm going to go 2nd round stoppage as well. And I think it will be a good night of fights. Australia, the crowd will be up for it, and it's the atmosphere can drive on a show as well. And I just think that'll certainly be there in place at the fight night. So looking forward to it. So check out any tips that you've prepared that you think is a good Aki? Because I know you got a good one up at the weekend.
Yeah, we had 2 back-to-back, about 11 to 2. We had 11 to 2 and a 15 to 2. So it wasn't too bad. It was, and then I took Gustafsson to knock Glover out, so I was kind of sweating on that until the last minute. Now there's a couple of other fights I'm looking forward to seeing. Mokhitaryan rather than Mkhitaryan fighting.
Yeah.
He's kind of a hot prospect over in those regions, but John Moraga in your UFC debut is not exactly a nice and easy fight to take.
No.
And also Chan Mi John, if I can say her name right. She's just 19 and coming in to make a debut on short notice.
Very nice.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those fight cards where you could easily kind of fall asleep at 4 a.m. or it will carry you completely through and you'll be absolutely overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, there's a few decent fights on the undercard. I think you picked out probably the best of them, but they're not as good Don Young Kim is fighting. They're not as good as Don Young Kim. That's what we call them.
Robert.
Yeah.
So that's it, Saturday night. As always, Darren, thanks again taking the time to come on, give us a few tips.
No
there's been some good ones. We'll get you back on as well. You were due to be on the breakdown last week, but you've had a decent excuse with the birth
of
the birth of the newborn baby. So congratulations on that, and enjoy the sleepless nights. So you and Mr. Carl Doran, who's a host who doesn't seem like a host because he's never here, he's sharing the same thing, and that's called insomnia. But yeah, congratulations, me man, and we'll talk soon for the next breakdown.
Thanks very much. Everyone take care. See you next time.
See you later, me man. Take care.
Have a good one.
Thank you. See ya.
So there you are, folks. You want easy money? That's easy money. He's been hitting the cards up and he's been getting them right. So check him out. Follow him on Twitter as well. We never gave out the handle, but it is Darren Russell.
It'll be on there, a little graphic.
Mate, on the graphic. Wind back and imagine me pointing at it. So we're going to give Mr. Daniel Movahedi, last but certainly not least, Mr. Movahedi. So we're going to give him a quick bell and get that on. So welcome back to obviously Fight Talk. We will be joined now by Daniel Movahedi in referee's corner. But what we're looking at here is Celtic Gladiator 12 in London. Alex Montecani taking on Sean Lomas, and there is a beautiful soccer kick coming up any minute. You might recognise that referee. That is Mr. Movahedi himself.
Oh,
boom.
Fuck.
Soccer kick. And Dan's just stepping in, making sure the fighter's alright. So Dan, here we are now. At the moment you're leaning there with the doctor. I can only presume it does say doctor on his back now. So talk us through what's happening there, Dan.
As you saw, a soccer kick landed by Sean Lomas to Alex Montagani. Didn't knock him out, but obviously dazed him. That's why I called time. Got the doctor in to assess him. And as you know, the doctor has up to 5 minutes to assess him. Obviously the fighter can't take 5 minutes, but the doctor has up to 5 minutes, and the fighter wanted to continue, so I went over to the doctor. I said, look, you take your time, whatever you need to do. You got up until 5 minutes to do your assessment. Went over to Sean Lomas, explained to him, and you know what, he agreed. He said, look, I'm really sorry, I know it was an illegal kick, but I don't think there was no malice in it, you know. I think it was just his reaction or just throwing it. I mean, if anyone knows Sean Lomas, that guy's been in the game since God knows when. I mean, since I started, and that's going back 15 years ago. Honestly, this guy's fought everyone and anyone in the MMA game. Bit of a journeyman, but he turns up to fight, you know. As you can see there, the doctor's making sure Alex is fine, and he's good to continue. And again, the important thing for me was to give the doctor time to do a full assessment, you know, to make sure if he's going to call the fight, to call it off, or if he's going to allow them to continue. And like you see now, as Alex gets up, obviously he's a downed opponent, and boom, nice soccer kick. Okay, there we go, the effects of the soccer kick in the background.
What was that?
But yeah.
So Dan, just to clarify there, you said something there that people might have picked up on. The ruling here is the fighter doesn't have 5 minutes. The doctor has 5 minutes. So if the doctor gets in and finishes his assessment in 30 seconds, after 30 seconds, the fighter has to be able to continue or not continue? He doesn't have 5 minutes rest.
No, the doctor has up to 5 minutes to assess him. Yeah, or me, you know. Obviously, I'm going to go by the doctor's ruling, and the doctor was happy for him to continue, and then we continued the fight. You know, as soon as the doctor said, "Look, Dan, I'm happy for him to continue," and I said to Alex, "Look, Alex, the doctor's cleared you. He said you're good. You've got no signs of concussion. Your eyes seem to be fine. Are you happy to continue?" Alex said, "Yes, I'm good." So obviously, got the doctor out. Spoke to Sean Lomas. I said, "Look, just as you know, I'll be taking 2 points away because it was a illegal shot and it was deliberate. Even though I'm sure you had no malice behind it, you did throw it and it was a downed opponent. Took the top 2 points away. The fight continued, and as a result, Alex went on to win by a decision. So and it was a great fight, you know. And I've got to give credit to Sean Lomas as well. You know, I've just taken 2 points away from you, and you was already, you know, and the other 2 rounds you were down. Not at any point did he just give up and go, well, I'm going to lose the fight anyway. He actually fought right to the end, and both of them. Credit to Alex as well to coming back from that soccer kick.
Yeah, that's some comeback as well, dude, from the soccer kick.
Yeah.
So we'd like to thank as well Celtic Gladiator for the footage there as well. But yeah, soccer kicks in general. That's still on, Rob. You still sound blast there somewhere. Soccer kicks in general, how do we feel about them?
Obviously they're illegal in the unified rules, but again, Japanese MMA, I guess.
Japanese MMA,
I'm not sure about. Yeah, I'm not sure about ONE FC if they still use them. They used to use them. As a fan, don't get me wrong. As a fan, we used to watch Pride FC. Obviously, seeing Vanderlei throwing the stomps and the soccer kicks. Yeah, you used to be entertaining, but for me personally, and this is me on a personal level, I don't find no skill in that. I don't find no skill in throwing a soccer kick to a downed guy who really can't defend it himself, and for a guy to be holding onto the cage or the rope and stomping down on someone's head. You know, for me, there's no skill set in that. But sometimes, like I said, in the early days, it was a bit of form of entertainment for us to watch. But to be on the receiving end of that, that's something else, you know.
Yeah.
And you can get your full body weight behind it, and it's a bit scary to think, you know.
Yeah.
That some people still use them.
Yeah, sometimes I go back and when I'm watching it, you kind of cringe at it. And I think at this day and age, like, I don't think you could really have a mixed martial arts promotion thrive with soccer kicks. And I'm pretty sure ONE FC did get rid of them. So that's probably the reason. Like, I think it's difficult to promote your fights when you have guys soccer kicking. It does look bad.
Yeah.
It really does look bad.
Question, Dan, I'm sort of pushing this one on you as well. A colleague of yours, Mark Goddard, came under a lot of criticism for the fight they get from Gustafsson against Glover Teixeira. Did you see the fight, and did you see the incident that happened where people were giving out about Mark?
Yeah, I saw the fight and poke in the eye. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, same thing. If the doctor told Mark that he was good to go, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Mark's the referee in there. He knows what's going on. He's experienced enough, and yeah, he did get criticism. The thing I took away from it, regardless of what anyone says or what he should or shouldn't have done, he done it. It was his call, and he thought that he took the fight at that point. The safety of the fight into hand. But what really pissed me off is again, social media, the keyboard cowboys, you know, keyboard cowboys behind the keyboard and giving him a lot of shit, you know, and it was a little bit unfair. And to be fair, he stood his ground and he said what he had to say.
Another one as well.
We cut off.
No, we're not. We can hear you. You're just.
Hello.
Can you hear us? Oh, we lost Dan there. I just want to quickly ask him. He was in freeze frame, but we could hear him perfectly there.
You can watch the rest of this fight as well.
Watch the fight as it's going on. No, but I want to ask him. I want to sneak him a question about.
Here's all back.
Yeah, I want to ask him about Norman Park real quick as well. There he is for people listening. That is the beautiful noise of Skype. We didn't. We could hear you, but you were just freeze frame, so we heard everything you said.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Another one I want to ask your opinion of quickly, and it's like quick fire referee's corner here. I'm firing a question at you. Did you see the Norman Park fight with Gamrot?
Yes, I did. I didn't see the whole fight, but I had obviously you guys messaged me about it. People messaged me about it.
Did you see the bite?
I didn't, not until the replay. Until they showed it on the replay.
Okay, but What should have realistically happened there when Park showed? Because the referee stopped the fight because Park said he was bitten. He showed his hand. The ref looked at it. So what's the procedure there? Because it seemed to be panic. They didn't seem to know what they were doing.
Yeah, I mean, if Norman showed him the bite, and say I was the referee, right, and he showed me and he went, ref, look, my hand, and if I physically could see a bite mark, and that's the reason I stopped that bite mark, okay, I would have taken 2 points away from that guy. Because at the end of the day, it's a foul, okay, and regardless if I had clearly seen it or not, he's committed that foul, you know. And especially like you said, he called time for it because Norman had showed his hand to him. So yeah, I would have taken 2 points away, and it's such a dirty thing to do, you know. I can't remember there was back in the early days of UFC. I can't remember what fight it was. Someone got bit on the chest or something like that, and I remember then, even then, there was confusion. I can't remember what fight it was, but yeah, if I was the ref, I would have taken 2 points away, 100%.
No, interesting, because it just another thing you brought to. Again, I think it was just in the mix-up. The referee just wanted to get the fight. They should have, even though the ref called timeout, they should have went back to the position, shouldn't they, where the fight was stopped?
Yes, I would have mostly reset them from that position. But then again, the position it was stopped, his opponent had the advantage.
Yeah, but when the point that I was saying was that when Norman was bit, he looked up at the referee, and that caused a scramble to stand up. Yeah, should have not been put down to the. Yeah. Back to then you know what, to save any confusion, to save any it should have been this, you just start in a neutral position, stand back from stand up. That's the easiest way to do it.
My last question for obviously Fight Talk quick fire referee's corner is did you see the Yancy Medeiros Eric Silva fight at the weekend?
No, I didn't. I haven't watched any of the UFC on the weekend. I do apologise.
No, we can't ask that question, so. No, there was claims of a early stoppage, and I just wanted to say about that.
Well, we can. I'm sure we can come back to that. But just quick point onto that soccer kick. I think the main thing is, as a ref, and most of the referees, I'm sure they would agree, you do not rush the fighter. Or the medics. Just give them enough time. Like, at the end of the day, both the guys are in there to entertain. They're there to fight. I'm sure Alex wouldn't have wanted to win his fight via DQ of Sean Lomas. He wanted to fight. He clearly wanted to fight. You know, give the doctor enough time, or the fighter enough time, even if it's a groin kick, to recover, be ready to go. You know, and I think that's the key point. Not rush. Typical, the measures you need to make.
You shared a video as well, a blog style video where you spoke about an incident at a show you done at the weekend.
Yeah.
Do you want to anyone who hasn't seen it? Do you want to give us a quick recap of what it was?
Yeah, basically, I mean, now the fighter himself has commented on that on the vlog that I done. Corey Eaton, you might know him as a good MMA fighter. He's fought BCMMA, he's fought various shows. He was fighting for the Contenders Norwich K1 title. And unfortunately, he literally got knee to the face. And when I say lights out, it was basically like when, was it Vanderlei kneed Rampage? Was it that one when he faced Vanderlei?
He went out the ropes.
Yeah, and it was exactly like that, you know, and face planted down. And at that point, afterwards, it really hits home. You know, these guys and girls, like I said on the video, man, check it out. They put their lives on the line and for our entertainment, you know. It's only fair to give them a bit of respect and what they deserve. Not monetary respect, you know, not saying, you should pay them a lot, but just as fans. Because you hear in the crowd, even as a referee, or even you walking past, yeah, it was shit. Did you see him get knocked out? I'm like, dude, you try to get in there then. Yeah. You know, he might have just had an off night at the office, whoever that may be.
Anybody who steps into a ring, cage, or a matted area should be respected. They're doing something that a lot of people don't have the even the courage, or courage is probably the wrong word, but most people aren't going to do that. And they're willing to step in and showcase their skills in front of anyone, and that demands respect.
See, I respect that, but then what I don't respect is people who turn up just for the money as a what do you want to call it, as a traveller guy, and is willing to take one punch and then go down with a fake injury. That really pisses me off. I've come across them fighters. They know who they are. And
Juicy Gossip. Who are they, Dan? Who are they?
Sorry?
Who are they? Juicy Gossip. Obviously, Fight Talk exclusive.
They know who they are.
Dana White, is that what he's saying? Dana White. Dana White is he goes down. You heard it here first. Listen, Dan, it's great as always talking to you and getting some light on the likes of the rules and stuff like that as well. And we will talk in more depth next week.
Definitely.
Yes. And we'll get you in to do some predictions or whatever. Come on to the show and talk about everything the way we used to do.
I will do. I hope you guys had a good bank holiday anyway.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, I was working up in Belfast at the show, and then had a lovely day yesterday. Out to Martello and Bray, listening to some good music and eating some good food with my beautiful family.
Balf's on Grafton Street.
Nice.
Beautiful. What about you, Dan? I tell you, Dan, looking at you on Instagram or on Facebook, I'd be exhausted.
Yeah, I am. But hey, man, you only live once, yeah.
You're on boats. You're climbing mountains. You're everywhere and anywhere, man. I tell you what. Daniel Movahedi. Get him out. Follow him on Instagram. You'll fucking make your life feel great. You'll make your life feel boring.
You just haven't met my twin.
Yeah. Listen, Dan, pleasure as always. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
And we'll talk next week, my man.
Appreciate that, gents.
Perfect.
Take care.
Cheers.
Peace. See you later.
That's gonna wrap up 70. But Rob, you got a text message while we're on there.
Yeah, we were supposed to, or we were trying to organise Yancy Medeiros to come on to this show this week, but he just arrived in Hawaii not too long ago, a few hours ago.
11 hours time difference.
Yeah, there's 11-hour time difference. If you go to MMA Junkie now, I think they posted up the video. Well, UFC actually posted up the video
of them arriving.
Max and Yancy arriving in Hawaii,
yeah.
like a hero's welcome, deadly.
Yeah.
But hopefully he'll be on next week when he's not jet lagged.
He was
have a chat about the fight.
He was on to come on. He wanted to come on today, but it was basically jet lag and time difference.
Yeah.
We were playing.
He's
we were
hanging out
hoping
with the family and
exactly. So that'd be a great one. Yes, coming on potentially next week. Look forward to it.
But this week,
big shout out to just like ages ago we were speaking to Nathaniel Wood.
Man.
Nathaniel Wood, thanks a million for coming on. The Cage Warriors bantamweight champion. Delighted to have him on. We were also joined by Rhys McKee, who is currently in TriStar, who's fighting Richie Smullen and BAMMA 30 on July 7th, 8th, 9th, somewhere along there. Can't remember the date, forgive me. Darren Russell from ODDsBible coming on, talking and breaking down the fights going ahead this weekend in Auckland, New Zealand.
Yeah.
And the beautiful Daniel Movahedi for coming back on and giving a bit of insight to a crazy soccer kick.
Yeah.
And again, it was one thing I didn't say to Dan actually there was, it's like a heat of the moment. It almost knows it wasn't intentional.
No, it was
heat of the moment. Jesus.
Kick him.
Exactly. Heat of the moment.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we've all been there.
And Rob, thank you to you, Rob, for coming on.
Thanks. 70.
Yeah, 70. And Rob's going home to edit now.
I know. Fuck, what time is it?
Yeah, it's late. So yeah, that's been 70. Fight Star Ireland, the Fighter's Choice. Check them out. Everything you need under one roof. MMAmix.com. They're obviously good because they're with obviously Fight Talk. We would have had Brendan Doran on with us this week. Only it was a bank holiday here in Ireland, so we couldn't get in here.
Yeah.
To record.
Hopefully next week.
Yeah, hopefully, Brandon, we get you on again and we have some good chats, some good breakdowns. If you haven't already, check out Brendan's breakdown of Max Holloway. Again, as always, he just nails it. He's just phenomenal at what he does. And follow him on YouTube as well. Just type in Brendan Dorman and you'll find him. The man is the master of his universe in what he does. But yeah, that's been 70. I've been Noel. He's been Rob. You've been you. Peace.